Cross over troubled waters cause I'm targeted.
A verbal assassin when I'm blasting.
Strictly head crushing, lead rushing through your bot. Can't cross over troubled waters cause I'm targeted.
A verbal assassin when I'm blasting.
Cross over troubled waters cause I'm targeted.
A verbal assassin when I'm blasting.
Strictly head crushing, lead rushing through your bot. Can't cross over troubled waters cause I'm targeted.
A verbal assassin when I'm blasting.
All right. Welcome everybody to another BDA Boxing Podcast, the Boxing Debate Arena. This is your friend, Mr. BDA. Glad everybody could be on board for this one. Glad to see everybody on here as always. We are broadcasting to you live from Canada. Fall season. Probably my favorite season. Everything's dying up. You got colors all over the place, all the trees. And then you got Halloween, of course. The Eve of Witches, I think that's what it means. Anyway, glad to have you on board. We want to talk a little boxing today. Lots to talk about. Bucho is MIA today. He's been holding the fort down for a couple of weeks now. So I guess it was time for him to take a little break. I don't know if he's going to be joining us. I think he might join us later on if he's available, or before we end the show. I want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat room. Eddie, Shepherd of Sons, Nino Gadji, The Quags, Virtuoso. Thank you guys for joining us. Many more to come, I am sure. Man, very exciting last couple of days here at BDA Boxing. A little drama, a couple of laughs, some fun, and a couple of boxing fights in between. So glad everybody could be here for this one. What are people saying in the chat room? The Shepherd of Sons says, I bet it's Bucho and not BDA. Ah, you're wrong on that one, Shepherd of Sons. I am here. And if you don't like it, Shepherd, you know where to go. You can take that name of yours, which I've always said sounds like the name of some 1970s German rock band, and stick it where the sun don't shine. No, I'm kidding. Eddie says, BDA all the way. Of course, BDA all the way. Charlo, the cherry-picking Willie Monroe, says Nino Gadji. Yeah, I wonder who Charlo's gonna fight next. I will talk about it later on. Again, Nino Gadji says, Bucho's banging hookers and candy sugar time. Yeah, and I bet that he's got a stripper girlfriend that he impregnated. And he was very mean to her. He was telling her, you know, we're gonna get married, we're gonna have a child, and if if it's a boy, we're gonna name him Mark or whatever, and if it's a girl, we're gonna name her after you. That way she can grow up to be a cocksucking slob like you. And then he beat her to death. My goodness, Bucho's crazy. Shepherd the Sun says Bucho is drunk. What? I wonder who came up with this fucking story that Bucho's always drunk. Anyway, the Quack says Canelo's fight will be the winner of the Gail Eubank. Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me to see this fucking guy move up in weight anytime soon. The Shepherd of the Sun says LOL. Violence News Network says, what's up, BDA? What's up to everybody here? Lennox Johnson says, BDA, we need a Wilder Fury fight breakdown. Well, thank you, Lennox. I do agree. I'd love to do one. The problem with that is that lately the PBC have been very strict about protecting their property online. And so anytime, like, what was it, this year? We tried to make a Jared Hurd video before the Lara fight, and boy, they pulled that shit down immediately. We were lucky we didn't get a strike or anything. But yeah, the PBC, we got to be careful with that. Very careful. I was even thinking of maybe contacting them and saying, listen, would you allow us to use some of your footage? But I mean, I don't know if that's... Nino Gadji says, cocksucker was way out of line. 20 years old, this girl. Well, that too. Fucking Polly Walnuts. The first thing he sees a girl gets beat up to them, the first thing he brings up is that cocksucker was way out of line. We gotta do that special Sopranos episode. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen before the year ends down. We gotta do that shit. Okay, I gotta send a couple of invitations. I don't even know who's... I gotta tell you, it's been a while since I've done this. Oh boy. And I'm trying to look at the list of people here that I can send invites to. And I already fucked it up. I invited El Dude by accident. No, I'm kidding. Who am I trying to... Okay, I'll try to... Well, actually, Bucho, if you're listening, can you take care of it? Of the invites? If not, I'll do it. I mean, it's no problem. Mark Funk, shout out to Mark, says, Yigit is a 4-1 underdog. Is he so shit because Baranchik is not that good? It's interesting. 4-1. I would have expected the odds to be wider. Baranchik didn't look all that hot in his... What was it? His last fight? Hold on, let me... You know, before I start spouting off. What was Baranchik's last fight? You know who? I always get him confused with Kavaliuskas. The guy at welterweight. I think they're both from Belarus, right? Baranchik really impressed me when he beat the shit out of Peter Petrov. Petrov is a very tough guy. But yeah, that was the last fight. In March. So he hasn't been terribly active. Keenan Smith. That was the fight where... What's his name? He didn't look all that hot, Baranchik. Oh, come on. What is this? Why is the news page all minimized? Bucho, what's going on? Oh boy. All right. So you see Baranchik here. I don't understand why this page is all small. Anyway, I'll put it that way. Keenan Smith, undefeated. It was an 8-round decision for Baranchik, but watch that fight. Baranchik did not look good in that one. He couldn't cut off the distance properly. He was overshooting the distance, smothering his own work. I mean, we've only really seen him being impressive against Petrov, and that might have been because he was fighting a smaller guy. Yigit, he's 20-0. I think he's only got like 4 knockouts. Let me check. Hold on. I mean, I'm not gonna speak out of my ass. 7 knockouts, and he's from Sweden. Wouldn't surprise me. While he's fighting Baranchik in where's that? Is that gonna be in? Well, they don't say where it's gonna be, but you know, while he's fighting Baranchik, I hope his wife isn't getting fucked by a bunch of migrants, because you know that's what's going on in Sweden. And hopefully, Yigit can come out of there with something. All right, Neto says, shout out to Neto says, so many welterweights PBC using journeyman from 5 years ago. Yeah, that's the thing. Rasclot222, shout out to Rasclot. He's talking to Quags. Spence, his next fight is Colasso. You know what? If he can't, if it's already said that he's going to be fighting Porter, I don't mind that fight because Colasso is not easy for anybody. And I'd love to see what Spence can do against Colasso. Can he take him out of there? Can he do better than Khan did, or Mosley, more than 10 years ago? I don't know. We'll see. I think then again, Colasso against Thurman, he hurt Thurman to the body, and it was only when Colasso quit that's why the fight ended. It was because of a cut. I think Colasso did quit. I don't know if that cut was that bad. It's hard to tell from this position. Because you know, I didn't have the cut, so I don't know. Oh, Pucho says I sent the invites. Did you know? Did you send them through your account of King Bucho or through... Okay, I see, yeah. Alright, so if anybody wants to come in, and if not, I can ramble. Oh, I can ramble. Believe me, got a lot to say about these fights. So yeah, Yigit has no power. I've seen a couple of his fights. He hasn't fought anybody either of note. I think he's fought a couple of undefeated guys. Like he beat this guy named Philip Sutcliffe Jr. Sounds like a black Muslim or something. And but he was only 9-0, this guy. He beat up DeMarcus Corley as well. Technical decision in the 3rd round. I mean, but come on. Corley's been shot for a couple of years now. So there's nobody world class in there. But you never know. Maybe he's got enough quality that it doesn't matter how many people he's beaten. Maybe he's got the skills and the talent to stand up to Baranchik. And then again, like I said, Baranchik hasn't fought any killers either. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens Is it this Saturday that they're fighting? Yes, it is, the 27th. And of course, Prograis. I call him Prograis. It just says that fucking Spanish spelling that I have. But Prograis versus Flannagan. You guys tell me, what's your impression of Prograis? Because I look at a guy that looked impressive against Indongo and in his last fight against Jose Velasco, undefeated Argentinian. But you gotta remember, guys, these are, like I always say, these Argentinian guys, you never know what they have in the tank. They're undefeated, they have a glossy record, and then it turns out they're pieces of shit. Or they're very dangerous. There's no in between with these Argentinian guys. Very volatile. And so Prograis took him out, gave him a beating. Oh, I see we have Battle Rifle on the line. Battle, are you there?
I'm here.
All right. Well, you gotta say it like that. Like, of course I'm here. What's the matter with you?
What?
Yeah, you had to say it. Anyway, the way you said that, like, of course I'm here. Like, as if it was ridiculous for me to ask.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, I'm glad that thank you for being on. I wanted to ask you, because I want to get some opinions here on Prograis. What's your impression of him? I mean, he's only had really that Indongo fight on his resume. That's really a no name. What do you think about him? Overrated, underrated, big things ahead for him?
No, I don't think he's really overrated. His resume is actually pretty good. He beat some pretty nice guys at the at this weight and moving up. He beat
Hmm.
champions. Beat people like Gamboa and Dongo. Beat people like Victor Posto.
Wait, the
Beat
Gamboa.
what was that?
You said Gamboa.
But yeah, I don't think he's really overrated. He's
Okay.
he's doing what, like, go ahead.
No, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
But I was saying, like, he beat some of the best around his class. He came undisputed, moved up, and I guess he's on a road to become undisputed again. And if he can do that, then that's just amazing, because he will be one of the only fighters in history to do it. I think the only fighter in history to go undisputed in two weight classes is Evander
Okay.
Holyfield, and he did a heavyweight and cruiserweight.
Well, that's
So
what's great. Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. That's what's great about this tournament because it's the best fighting the best. Yeah, there's no getting out of it. They're in this now, and if they come out, if anybody, whoever comes out the winner, he's gonna be fucking fantastic. By the way, people are saying they think you're referring to Crawford because you mentioned Prograis beating Gamboa. I was asking about Prograis. Did I say Crawford by accident?
yeah, I think you did. I mean, when you talking about Crawford?
No, I thought I said Prograis. Anyway, I was trying to,
Oh, I went on a whole tangent about saying Crawford.
yeah, that's
Okay.
what I was thinking.
Uh,
I was thinking,
no,
why are you
what?
talking
Well,
about
I
undisputed?
think you didn't. I think you didn't say Crawford. It's just that you said Ndongo, and that's the first person that came to my mind.
Okay. Well, no, I was talking about Prograis from this Saturday. He's going to be fighting Terry Flanagan.
As far as that's his biggest win. Overrated. I don't really see anybody just really overrating him. For the people who are just saying you're just gonna walk through all the 140 pounders, then you're kind of overrated, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you got to put it into context. When I say overrated, I'm speaking really about that once there's a segment of people that I've read on the internet message boards. They really think he's just going to be, like you said, walk all over everybody. But let's take a look at this tournament. Let's take a look at the brackets. As you can see here, Relic fought, I believe it was the beginning of the month, and he fought Troyanovsky. Apparently, it was a tougher fight than people expected. Certainly than I expected. After Relic's very impressive performance against Barthélemy, I thought he was going to run through this guy. Couldn't really quite do it. Just goes to show that Troyanovsky, maybe we were underrating him a little bit. And of course, you got Prograis versus Flannagan this Saturday. And of course, you have Baranchik Yigit. And then the next Saturday, on November the 3rd, Taylor versus Ryan Martin. So as you can see, guys, the best junior welterweights fighting the best. And you know what's even better? Apparently, Victor Postal Victor Postal has been selected as a replacement, meaning he's on the bench right now. But if any of these guys get hurt, he gets the call and he gets to be a replacement. So could you imagine that fucking Victor Postal in there? And to top it all off, whoever wins this tournament still has a lot of potential opponents in the near future, because one of the best guys not in the tournament is Jose Ramirez, undefeated, really impressive against Orozco and against Amir Imam. And then of course you have one guy that I think is very underrated, Sergey Lipinets. And then you got Maurice Hooker, who beat Flannagan, who's going to be fighting this Saturday. And Hooker, again, we don't really know. And I think he's more on Flanagan's level, but it's still an interesting fight, undefeated record. So what do you think, Battle Rifle? I mean, is 140 pound one of the overlooked divisions in boxing right now?
Sorry about that, but yeah, it is one of those overlooked. I've been paying attention more now because of the Super Series. It's just that there's been fighters there. It's just that I was looking forward to certain fighters, and then when they lost, I was just like, oh man. And it was certain people. Or sorry about the background, but it was certain people where I looked forward to them and they lost, and then when they lost, I had moved on to other divisions, and I was like people like Lucas Matisse and people like Amiri Mom. So I kind of swayed away, and then I came back and looked at people like Regis Prograis and people like Josh Taylor. So the division is really heating up. It's going to be a really interesting division, but it's kind of sad to hear that. Am I wrong in saying that if somebody wins the Super Series, they won't become undisputed? Because I'm trying to figure out who has all the belts, but I can't remember.
Well, that brings up a good question. What do you put more emphasis on the best beating the best or belts?
I think if anything, the best people really had the belts. So if he were to take all the belts and come undisputed, then he would have beat the best in the class. Did he just if he just like plays it off and just like beat somebody who has all the belts at one time, and that's kind of him just fighting one fighter. But that's what the Super Series is for. He's not just fighting one fighter; he's fighting a number of them.
Well, the reason why I bring that up is because, according to Ring Magazine, as you can see here on the screen, Josh Taylor is number 2, Prograis is number 1. Neither Taylor nor Prograis appear to have a belt. So what I'm saying is we don't. Sometimes you're right. Sometimes the people that have a belt is because they got to it and they earned that belt. Other times there's people that are given belts, and so it's kind of hard to discern. Just because somebody has a belt doesn't necessarily mean that they're good. For example, Maurice Hooker has a WO belt, but I don't think he's all that great. I focus more on the resume.
Was it a vacant title?
I think he beat what's his name, Flannagan for it, and Flannagan had a pretty good record coming into that fight.
Yeah, he did. He does, but man, I do think he's going to get beat by Prograis, and if he beats him, I would tell you right now, I'd be highly shocked.
Yeah, I would be too, because say what you want about Prograis. I was watching some of his fights, especially the Indongo fight. He was really jumping in there, very wild. I was surprised that Indongo couldn't catch him. He definitely has some defensive holes, but the guy is just so strong, so determined, such a hard puncher, and a great body puncher. I love myself a guy that knows how to fight on the inside. And he can get on the inside. You know what? Last week, I remember I told Bucho about it. I was telling him that Inoue, the 118-pound tournament, I think he's going to beat Rodriguez just based on the fact that he hits harder and he's just that much stronger. It's one of those fights where the physicality and the power does make a difference. And I think it's going to be a little bit of the same thing with Prograis against Flannagan. What do you think?
I think I do think that's going to happen, but I don't know if it's going to be like a just pure domination, like with Nainui's knockout that he just had. But I will say that, if we bring it back on the subject of if he's beating just title holders, these basically prospects with belts, and that does come up, but there's a reason why I think Terrence Crawford just fought just about everybody at 140. And that's because you just don't bring up any questions. You can't say that he ducked a guy at the division, because a lot of people like to bring up, Canelo ducked, he ducked Jamel, which he did. He did duck Jamel, but they like to say that Jamal was supposed to fight Canelo. But I was like, when was that fight ever in question? When did he ever call him out? Because he always said that he wanted a big fight, but when Canelo was in the question, he didn't bring it up. So when you have people like Canelo move up, they say, "Oh, you can't duck over 2 divisions now. Now you have to come back." And that's kind of the thing is, sometimes when people move up and wait, they say, "Oh, you ducked this guy," but so when you beat everybody at division, there brings no questions.
Yeah, I mean, it's some people. Listen, whether you have all the belts, whether you beat the best, whatever, there's always somebody gonna criticize a fighter. Sometimes it's never enough for some of these boxing fans. Nino Gadji says in the chat room, it's best to have a mix. He says it's best to have a mixture of both. Resume outweighs belts, in my opinion. Perfect example is Lomachenko versus Mikey. Loma's better and he has a better resume, but Mikey has won belts in more divisions. I think it's a little bit in between. Some guys, they got belts because they're good, and some guys get handed the belts and then they lose them right away. I mean, if you can keep a belt, even in today's era where most everybody can get a...
Argue has a better resume.
Who?
Mikey Garcia.
You think he's got a better resume than Lomachenko?
Yeah, it's arguably better. He beat. I think he As far as the guys he beat, I'm guessing he beat more champions because I think Lomachenko has fought 7, and I think he beat 6.
Hmm.
But I think Mikey Garcia has beat more champions.
Well, it's, you know, Mikey Garcia also started fighting better opposition just as Lomachenko was turning pro. So he definitely has a head start in that regard. I'm more interested in watching those two fight. I think they've essentially cleaned out the division, or the division around them, more or less. And it's at a point where they should fight each other now, because I don't want to see Lomachenko fighting some bum that I know, or not bum, but, you know, somebody that I know he's gonna beat on paper. And same thing with Mikey Garcia. These guys are the cream of the crop, and they need to fight each other. But I didn't really want to go that way. I want to stick a little bit to the 140-pound tournament, because even, like, you brought a good question. Like, if the guy wins this, whoever wins this tournament, is he the best? I would say so, but there's still gonna be that question mark, because, like I said, Jose Luis Ramirez is still out there. Was that?
I think you kind of broke up a little bit.
I broke up.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, I mean, I'm hearing some feedback also when I talk from your end. I don't know if do you have your speakers on or something?
Yeah, that was me. My bad.
Okay. Yeah. All I was saying is that you brought up the point about whether whoever wins this 140-pound tournament is the best. I think it's gonna be. I think there should be considered the #1 guy.
Are you asking me a question, or are you just?
Well, I'm just saying. I'm repeating what I said. I'm repeating what I said earlier, which was that whoever wins this tournament, my dream match would be for them to fight, what's his name? Jose Luis Ramirez.
Yeah, that would be too. You know, it's a fighting question. It's if the person who comes out beats completely watches away his competition. I just basically just summarized that whoever whoever wins the tournament is the #1 140 partner until proven otherwise. You can make a case for Jose Ramirez, but I think, until proven otherwise, he would probably be at least 1 or 2. Until when when the winner of the fight actually fights Jose Ramirez, then he no doubt be #1 140 pounder. He is the best in that division.
And hold on a sec. Hold on a second. I mean, come on. Whoever wins. I mean, listen, because let's let the brackets back up. Hold on a second here for the 140-pound tournament. I mean, look, if Prograis beats Flannagan, he beats one of the top guys. Then he would fight Carol Relic. Let's say he beats Relic. That's another very highly competent and qualified guy. And then let's say in the final he beats either Taylor or Baranchik. I think it's going to be one of those two. That he has to be whoever he would have to be considered the #1 guy, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm saying he would be proven. He would be #1 until proven otherwise.
Okay. Well, isn't that the case for everybody?
If Regis Prograis wins the Super Series tournament, he's the best. He's the best at 140. If he beats if Josh Taylor wins the World Super Series, he's the best at 140. And if you want to make a case for Jose Ramirez and say, oh, he didn't fight Jose Ramirez, he fought more competition. So it's your job to prove otherwise to the fans that I'm the best 140 pounder because he has all the belts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, listen, I get it, man. I mean, hopefully the guy, hopefully the winner fights Ramirez or Postal. You know, just get the best fighting the best. The problem, of course, is that Jose Luis Ramirez is with Top Rank. And I was talking to Bucho about this. I get the feeling that if anybody's not going to be doing business with each other, it's going to be Top Rank. I think Top Rank right now, with their deal with ESPN, they feel that everybody else has to come to them as opposed to them having to work things out. I mean, hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully they do start working with the Zone and maybe even the PBC, although that seems to be more difficult.
It feel that way because ESPN is probably the biggest platform they can network from. You know, they do almost always really good numbers every time they even put on a boxing match. You seen like the first time Mayweather-Pacquiao fought Jeff Horn, it did crazy numbers. You know, it did millions of views. So it's ESPN. I think they are. I mean, well, if you say Top Rank does think that way. In my opinion, they think everybody has to come to them because ESPN is the biggest platform.
Now, what do you think about the content of ESPN so far? Have they been living up to the standard of the content they put when it comes to boxing, or do you think it's been a little lackluster?
It's been, for the most part, the fights I've watched, they were entertaining. I can't say I watched the entire bunch. I watched a few undercards. I watched the Jeff Horn with Terrence Crawford. I watched Jeff Horn and Manny Pacquiao. And I didn't watch it live. I had to actually download it, see where I can find it online. But I actually watched the Murata and the Brent fight, which is entertaining. But as far as, you know, the content, it's been really short. You know, there were big gaps in between the fights, like with Jeff Horns and not huge gaps, but there were gaps where the Jeff Horn and the Jeff Horn, Manny Pacquiao, and Jeff Horn, Terrence Crawford fight, and that was the only time I came back to ESPN to watch a fight. So as far as that, it's not really a lot of fights going on right now.
All right, so you're not all that impressed with ESPN, which is what I'm saying is like why wouldn't Bob Arum already, well, not Bob Arum, it's really Todd DeBeuf now that's supposedly in power, but they didn't put Ramirez in at the 168-pound tournament. Now it's with the 140-pound tournament. They didn't put Jose Luis Ramirez, so two Ramirez's. Huh?
You talking about Gilberto Ramirez?
Yeah, the two Ramirez's have been kept out of WBSS tournaments. I don't know if it's a coincidence.
Ramirez signed with?
Gilberto's with Top Rank as well.
Oh, okay. So he's actually with Bob Arum. He doesn't have like any other promoter.
Yeah, well, yeah, they're both Ramirez's are with Top Rank. So it's kind of interesting that both guys belong to Top Rank and they didn't take part, I should say, in any of these tournaments, which are great because they determine who the best in the division is. Let me just read a couple of comments before we get to boxing style. James Erickson says Loma still has a better resume though. Oh boy. We opened up a can of worms by bringing up Lomachenko versus Garcia. I hate 140, says the Quacks. It's the weight class no one asked for. Come on, I think it's I think it's an underrated division. I really do. I think it's got the potential to put on some real fireworks, some real entertaining fights, man. Everybody there is entertaining.
People might get flack for this, but I will always I would rather see this than one in the welterweight division. Because the welterweights probably wouldn't fight each other, so it would be no point. So I would rather see a 140-pound tournament.
People in the chat room are also talking about Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. Who's avoiding who? That's one of the big stories right now on YouTube and in the boxing scene. The Quack says the Crawford Postal fight was eye-opening for me. James Erickson says I'd favor Crawford to beat Spence. All right, so you see people talking about that. We also got Boxing Style on the line. Boxing Style, are you there?
Yo, what's up, guys?
Not much, man. Just talking a little boxing here. Good to have you on board.
Yeah.
We're talking.
Get this background noise over here.
Oh my goodness, great. Are you working
Closing
at
the
Home
windows.
Depot?
Closing the windows, bro.
Are you okay, I thought you were. It sounded like you were working at Home Depot or something.
No, I'm not working. I'm good.
Okay.
I was. Man, I have to change my pick about the 140. Who's gonna win it?
Okay.
I got Josh Taylor. Josh
All right,
Taylor's
now
gonna kick the shit out of Prograis' ass.
Now I think you were.
Good. I think Josh Taylor is good enough to even beat Mr. Mikey Chicken Shit Garcia that I used to like, not anymore.
Whoa.
Yeah, he will beat him. Josh Taylor is that talented, bro. I did not see the fight. I took the word of Precise. Wrong fucking thing to do. I took the word of Precise, and I thought that Postal actually won that fight. I saw highlights of it, but in reality, when I watched that fight, I saw 8-4. Josh Taylor beating the shit out of Postal. Well, it was competitive, but he was at 8-4 clear off the bat with the knock.
Well, you cut off their Boxing Style.
Whooping. I'm not saying Postal didn't have his moments. He did have his moments, but Josh Taylor, yeah, he has a chin on him. He has good punching power, decent punching power. He has great skill, and I think he has. I'm not saying he'll like destroy Mikey Garcia. No, I'm not saying that, but I think he'll beat Mikey Garcia. And that's all I got to say.
All right, so you're changing your pick.
Yeah.
And if I remember,
I wish I could bet on this. Is there any way I could bet? I don't think you could bet anymore, right? For the tournament, who's the winner of the tournament?
well, bet where? You mean on the website or something?
Yeah. Bet for it because I think Josh Taylor for sure would win this.
Why go on the internet? I can connect you to a friend of mine. He can give you 2 points on every dollar, and no vig.
Hello?
Yeah.
You there?
Yeah, we're
You said
here.
2 points.
I'm kidding. I don't know what I'm talking about. Listen,
I don't know what you mean by that, but I mean, there's a way that I could get on online and bet on it, but I don't think online. As soon as the tournament already has started, I don't think that you could just go ahead and say this is the guy who I think is going to win the tournament. You can't.
So you're saying, but so you're picking Josh Taylor to win everything?
Yeah, pretty much in really good status. I mean, I think he might even stop Prograis because Prograis' skill level is not as good as Josh Taylor's.
It's interesting. Battle rifle, curious to get your thoughts. I didn't ask you who you think is going to win everything. Or I think you did mention it. Battle rifle, are you there? All right. Well, we'll get his input when he comes back.
He's in shock. He's in shock.
Well, listen. By the way, did you hear? I think it was announced today that Victor Postal has been selected as a replacement in case anybody gets injured in the tournament. Well, that's pretty fucking.
You're cutting off, bro.
I'm cutting off?
Or am I cutting off? I don't know who it is. Like, let's see the chat. Let's see who's really cutting off.
Well, now, see, you can understand the problem is that sometimes if we do cut off, you're going to hear it on Hangouts, the cutting off. But people in the chat room, they hear everything uncut. All right. Well,
I could hear you.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
I could barely. That's probably. Let me go back. Come out and come back in.
All right, fantastic. People in the chat room are talking about spaghetti westerns. Man, somebody's saying Nino Gaji. I don't know. Lee Van Cleef was sick. Yeah, Lee Van Cleef could play a bad guy. That's for sure. He also played a good guy in A Few Dollars More, I believe. Or which one was it? For A Few Dollars More or A Few Dollars More? Oh, fuck, I forget those. I saw those movies a long time ago. Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Once Upon a Time in the West. Fantastic movies. All right, Boxing Style, you're back. Remember, I might cut off a little bit in the beginning, or you might hear some echo, whatever, but that goes away once you stick in here.
Yeah, it's sometimes when this happens, you got to come out and come back in.
Right.
I got the hang of it.
All
Before
right,
I was
but
like, what the fuck's going on?
You said Josh Taylor beats everybody.
Josh Taylor, bro, man. Josh Taylor is a hell of a fucking athlete, man. He's a hell of a boxer.
I do remember
good chin, good movement, good everything. Like, yes, obviously he has to like improve. I mean, he's how old is he? I'm not even sure. I never checked his age.
Let me check.
Looks young. He looks young. He looks like he has a lot to go. But
all right, now you cut
set
off.
up if they can.
All right, now
but I'm pretty sure he will beat Prograis if they end up fighting each other.
Well, funny you should mention that because I was rewatching the Indongo Prograis fight, and like I was telling Battle Rifle, I saw Prograis jumping in there, and when he exchanges, he does the cardinal sin of dropping one hand while punching with the other, and Indongo couldn't take advantage of it. This fucking guy was slow as fuck and awkward as well. But if he fights like when he listen, Terry Flannagan is the type of guy that's well conditioned, good skills, sharp punches, but he lacks world-class speed, world-class power. Prograis seems to be one of the hardest puncher, if not the hardest puncher at 140, and I think just based on that, I think he's gonna run through Flannagan. I think Flannagan might land a couple of shots, but just based on the fact that he went life and death against Maurice the hooker, I don't have that much confidence in Flannagan. Do you think Prograis runs through him, or?
Yeah, he does. He runs through almost everybody, except for Taylor. Everybody. I've seen everyone, like bits and pieces of everyone. Some guys I know, like Postal I know. Regis I just found out about. I really looked into yesterday. He runs through everybody except for Taylor. Taylor's special. Taylor, he got a good chin and he got a lot of tools. And his height and reach advantage is a plus. And, I mean, he embarrassed him.
Okay, somebody watching a horror movie in the background?
Yeah, somebody's watching a horror film. I'm going to have to I'm gonna shut this shit down. Give me a second.
I heard a bell and then a scream.
What horror movie is it?
It sounds like an old one. Sounds like an old fucking...
It's fucking Halloween, man. What do you expect?
Is it a Peter Cushing movie?
Which one?
Let me see.
Sounds like a Peter Cushing movie or something.
Yeah, it's a lot of screaming. I don't remember it being a lot of screaming in the early ones.
Well, it depends. You gotta get the good ones.
You probably watching the Rob Zombie one.
I take it back. It's not a horror film. It's the Rookie show. Have you heard of it?
No.
The Rookie show.
Yeah, like the guy, the cop, the Rookie. Played by
Never. I don't think I heard of that one.
Yeah, King Bucho in the chat says that noise is not a movie; it's real. Yeah, are you you're in Pavel's basement? I bet.
I am in Pavel's basement.
That's right. Yeah.
So you think he walks through Jose Ramirez?
Yeah, who? Prograis or
Prograis?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he's a strong motherfucker, bro. He's a strong dude, but the thing is, the talent level that Josh has, and the chin that he has, and he also has power. It's gonna be too much for somebody like Prograis. That's the only one I see that he's gonna lose on. I mean, I like Prograis though. I'm a fan of him.
But man, I would have loved to see Amir Imam in that tournament, but he moved up.
Yeah, it's about time.
She said it's about time.
Yeah. He looked like a big dude, man. For 140 pounds?
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of which, boxing style, I know you're a big Sergey Lipinets fan. What do you think about him against Relic? Prograis. Do you think Prograis runs through Sergey Lipinets?
I think Lipinets beats him, but it's gonna be a good fight though. He won't knock him. I don't know if it'll be a knockout or anything like that. Like, it's hard to tell. They got. I know Lipinets has more skill though. That's for sure. Power wise, they pretty much like they both hit pretty goddamn heavy, man. Both guys hit pretty heavy.
For Lipinets, for a guy who had that many amateur fights, it doesn't seem like it. I don't mean like they just like wreck on the guy, but it doesn't seem like he had 300 amateurs.
Yeah, he's a tough son of a bitch, bro. That guy's strong.
I mean, he has a really good chin, but
yeah.
I expect him to be fighting somebody fighting like a Triple G or a Lomachenko at
I'll
least.
tell you this much though, it's not as clear cut as Josh Taylor versus Progress. That's for sure. It with that fight, he might get caught. You know, anything could happen. I mean, I see Lipinets beating him on a decision, but I wouldn't be surprised if Progress knocks him out neither.
You think he beat Josh Taylor on points?
Oh no, I think Josh Taylor probably stops him, man. Later rounds.
Mikey Garcia couldn't stop Lipinets, but I guess he was smaller.
Mikey Garcia has power, but it's not like
Josh Taylor's.
I wouldn't say that. It's like he has. You're talking about Josh Taylor versus who though? Like, what are you talking about? Josh Taylor versus Lipinets?
Mikey Garcia, as far as power.
Are we talking about Josh Taylor versus Lipinets? I don't know. I think he might go to decision. He might go to decision with Lipinets. I'm saying that Lipinets could avoid it. But Progress is too stiff, man. Progress is not his foot movement is not as good as Lipinets. He's kind of stiff, so he's gonna be open for a lot of shots that Josh Taylor would throw at him.
Josh Taylor's kind of stiff as well. I seen his match with Victor Posto. He was
no, man. He's nimble. He's pretty nimble. He's in and out, all kinds of shit.
He's nimble?
Yeah, he's pretty not nimble like Terrence Crawford nimble, but like nimble, just nimble enough to do what he wants to do. If you know what I mean.
Sergey Lipinets is very strong. I was rewatching that Mikey Garcia fight just this week, and it was impressive how hard he was trying to push Garcia. I mean, it made me think who could have beaten Lipinets that night, or who could have had an easy time with him in that division.
I don't know. Maybe a few boxers can stand up with a guy with a hard chin. You know, helps you in your box career, make you last longer. He just sometimes just doesn't throw enough for me. In my case, he does throw a pretty decent punch output. But I feel like there's certain moments where he's just getting hit for no reason when he can't outpoint the people who's in front of.
Yeah, that might be a problem right there. Those defensive.
Because it could just be Josh Taylor. He maybe if he just doesn't knock out Lipinets, he just punching and clinching because just can't knock him out. And Sergey Lipinets just doesn't have any answer for it.
Mikey is a really good basic fighter, man. He's like, what I mean basic, not as an insult. I mean like he knows the fundamentals really, really good, the 1-2s and all that shit. He's very good at it. But I mean, I was this chicken shit thing. It's already like it's getting on my nerves, bro. You could fight Crawford. He has the ability to fight somebody like Crawford. And if he goes with a right game plan, he can possibly even beat Crawford. It's not impossible to see that, but he is too scared. I mean, I heard shit that he didn't want to fight Gumbo and all this stuff. Like, this is Pacquiao. It's getting out of hand, bro. It's getting out of hand. He doesn't want to fight anybody. He wants to cherry pick his way with a cherry pick fucking record and shit. Like,
wait a minute. Shit, Boxing style. I mean, when you say cherry pick, you want to change that to strawberry pick?
Maybe strawberries better.
He's Mexican, picking strawberries.
I mean, because there's been like he did like avoid the fight with Gamboa. He didn't really give any statements as to why. And then, you have some people that think if he moves up to fight Errol Spence, he'll basically duck a Loma. I don't think that's necessarily the case. Moving up 2 weight classes is really hard, and especially with somebody like Errol Spence. He's not like a fighter who you just move up against, like an Adrian Brown against Paulo Malignaggi. He's physical, man. He's strong. He's a big welterweight. And he's probably the biggest welterweight besides Jeff Horn. So I mean, there's like what that's real.
You're talking about Terrence Crawford?
No, Errol Spence. So
Errol Spence is too big, but I think he could like run around the ring with Errol Spence's. Errol Spence's foot movement is not as good as
but
it's Mikey's. But he can still get caught, bro. Yeah, he can still get caught. I admit that shit. I think he could get finished by Spence. But it'll be pretty interesting to watch that fight. But calling him and not doing anything about it, this is man. Come on.
I mean, the thing is, with Mikey Garcia, I don't know what happened to negotiate. They haven't revealed anything. Errol Spence is not revealing anything about who the person he's fighting. He just came out with the interview that he's in talks with fighting someone, but he hasn't revealed the name. I thought it was Mikey Garcia, but apparently the fight isn't happening. So I don't know what direction he's going right now. If he fights Errol Spence instead of Crawford, then I won't be like, oh, he's just ducking. He's just ducking competition. Because he's still fighting a hard guy at welterweight, and he's probably fighting a boogeyman at welterweight. Nobody is willing to fight Errol Spence really, but Mikey Garcia at welterweight.
I know one person that wants to fight. Spence,
hold on. Before we continue on that, I don't want to leave people hanging, so I just want to introduce Stu on the line, just real quick.
I wasn't bad, though.
I told you what's going to happen to Price. I told you he's going to be sleeping. I told you the ambulance is going to come. The oxygen mask is going to come out. I told you he's going to miss the main event. I told you all them things were going to happen.
All right, Stu, welcome back to the show.
I think my internet's going to let me down. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, what are you saying, boys?
Nothing much, man. I mean, not much. Just talking.
Yeah, I can't stand long. I just thought I'd pop on for a bit. I can't stand long. I've got my chick here, so.
Your chicken?
I got my chick, not a fucking chicken.
Okay, I thought you said you had a bucket of chicken where you.
I can't stand too long. But what are you guys talking about?
Well, we're talking about
talking about chicken as well.
That's a good one. Yeah, we were talking about whether Mikey Garcia, like Apology Man, thinks that. Apology Man, Boxing Style thinks that he doesn't like Mikey Garcia. He thinks he's a strawberry picker, and he calls out all these guys, and then he doesn't fight them. What do you think, Stu? Care to weigh in on this?
What, Mikey Garcia?
Yeah.
He's a world-class fighter, but just doesn't fight anybody. I mean, Brown is probably the best name on it. That's about it, really. What do you want me to say about Mikey? He does a lot of talking, not a lot of fighting.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you what, though, man. Because Boxing Style, you were saying how you were disappointed in the guy, and you're like, I gotta tell you, I was very impressed with what he was able to do to Robert Easter Jr. Being able to cut off that distance against a taller guy who has fast hands. That's the thing about Mikey Garcia is he doesn't look all that impressive. He doesn't fight with his hands down. He doesn't move around the ring like Muhammad Ali. But he just stands there, parries your shots, blocks your right hand, and hits you with that 1-2 all throughout the night. And if you can take it, you take it. You catch a beating, and if you don't, you go down. That's why I think he's impressive. But you're right, though. I mean, he's calling out Errol Spence, and then how the fuck is that fight gonna happen?
Bucho, as I said, I like his skill. I like what I see. I enjoy watching him fight, and I was a fan of him until all this shit that he's. I mean, man, you guys been in this shit longer than I. I mean, the reason why I've been watching boxing is because of Triple G, and then all of a sudden I got into deeper and deeper into this shit. Mm-hmm. But he's not even doing shit. He's talking all kinds of nonsense. It's ridiculous. Like, oh, I gotta defend my mandatory. I'm like, get the fuck.
So that's why you think Triple G beats these all-time greats?
No. I got to Triple G because I like what I saw, bro. I like what I saw. I saw some shit in him that I haven't seen in a lot of boxes. Like, he's like old school fighter. That's what he is. That's why I fell in love with him.
He is old school, but there's plenty of old school fighters out there. That were just knocking people out at the time. Triple G, in my opinion, he was one of my favorites, but there came a time where he just started ducking the best fights, and there's some moments where I could defend him and say why he didn't fight certain guys, but now it's just to the point where he's just not fighting really anybody.
Look. In this case, when they want him to fight Charlo, he just fought Canelo twice, bro. Like, it's too quick to say. I'll be out there saying he's ducking too. I'm not afraid. I'm not gonna just not go against that. I could easily go against him. But the thing is, to say that he's ducking Charlo so soon is ridiculous because he had 2 fights with Canelo.
I'm not saying
if next year comes around and this fool is like, next year comes around and this fool is still not showing any signs that he's gonna fight him, then I'll say, yeah. And that's not just him. I'm gonna have to say something about Charlo too. Charlo has to fight Willie Monroe like he says he's gonna do. If he does that, I'll be. If he doesn't, if he ducks him after that, dude.
Let's be real.
White on rice.
That fight can't be made unless Charlo signs with DAZN. So Charlo can talk all he wants, but he needs to sign with DAZN if he wants that fight. It's clear. So
why would it like that happen with DAZN?
Say again.
Why would it be more likely to happen with DAZN?
Because Canelo Alvarez is the A side.
As far as Triple G is not with DAZN.
I'm talking about Charlo. And Canelo.
I'm about to fight with Triple G. He could. The thing about the fight with Canelo, I still couldn't be thoroughly convinced. If you look at the history, when Jermell Charlo signed with Golden Boy, he was promised a fight with Canelo, but he didn't get it. So he would probably be.
Oh boy, people are cutting off.
With the contract and Canelo's like little 11 fight deal or whatever, then how many fights was it? It was 7 fights. I'm not sure, but they don't give him the fights in that deal, then he's going to be looking stupid. He signed to DAZN for no reason.
Hey, I got something to say about Charlo too. I remember last time I said that Charlo was the boogeyman in the 154. I gotta retract my statement on that shit. The guy could have fought Lara, could have fought Andrade too, and then had a Trout on his record. That's the best. At this point, he should have had those 3 guys on his record. At least, if win or lose, he should have had those guys on his record. He does not have those. That's why Canelo didn't fucking bother to fight that guy. That's the reason why Canelo, because there's no money in fighting a guy that's possibly dangerous for him, and no, he's not gonna produce shit. You know, like. There's nothing to gain from fighting a guy like that. That's the main reason why Canelo's never fought him. And if you want to look at it, the guy that's really ducking him the most is Canelo. He's been ducking him for a longer period of time than Triple G. He just walked into Triple G's division.
Yeah, that is true. But if you want to be clear here and say that he didn't fight these people, he already fought Trout. You look at Andrade was so inactive, and then when he eventually got a fight with Jermell, he pulled out. So he was so inconsistent. And then with Lara was a stablemate. And that's probably the biggest reason they didn't fight. They had the same trainer, and they trained in the same gym. But, you know, of course, I know people can probably say, forget all that, fight each other anyway, because I know there are certain fans out there like that. I was just having a discussion with my boy. If the money is right, people will fight anybody in the stable. If the money is right, you know, it doesn't matter how big your friendship is, in my opinion. If the money is right, they will fight each other. But he didn't. So as far as that goes, he's probably still was the boogeyman of that division because he beat K9, he beat Wookie Camphor, probably not a big name, but he was just a guy who just had a devastating knockout on PBC, and then he knocked out J. Rock Williams. So yeah, he probably was the biggest name before he moved up until Jared Hurt came in the division.
All right, now before we continue, hold on. Just want to give a shout out to Steven Schneider. He says he gave a donation, and he says, "Who does Triple G have to fight to satisfy people?" I mean, that's one of the main things that a lot of people have discussed.
To satisfy me, I'd love to see Golovkin get his hands on Charlo and shut these.
I would too. You know, that in my opinion, the only way he would semi-oppress people, in my opinion, is most people just won't give Triple G the credit because they just don't like the hype that's going behind his name. They just won't give him the credit, and I can respect it. You know, we can have conversations about, and I could have a conversation about race and be comfortable with it. Let's be real here. Triple G to most people is seen as the great white hype, so. That's one of the reasons why they won't put respect on his name.
Hey, bro, I'll be honest with you. I don't think he's the great white hype. I think the real great white hype right now is Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is the real great white hype. Trust me. If Wilder gets beat, That's the great white hype.
There's no such thing as hey, listen. There's no such thing.
Really,
There's no such thing as white hype anymore. When you look at the pound for pound list, you've got Usyk, Lomachenko on there, Canelo Alvarez, all as powerful as I am. So there's no white hypes. We don't need white hypes anymore. We've got
there is
fights.
an agenda that HBO and Ring Magazine is pushing, because even though Loma had got injured and beat somebody like Linares, and then you have people like Canelo Alvarez beating Triple G, and then you have people like Alida Alvarez beating Sergey Kovalev, and they still have Loma as number one. So and I like Loma. I really like Loma. He used to be my number one PvP, but I had to look down and look at the resumes. Ring Magazine's what's the name, pound for pound list, just like I say, all pound for pound, they're subjective, but they're completely based off popularity, and that's what they keep trying to push Lomachenko and Triple G as these number one pound for pound fighters. They keep putting them up there when they haven't deserved the rightful spot. So if you look at Great White Hype, there is kind of a Great White Hype because they was pushing the agenda with these Eastern European fighters of being the next big thing. But in my opinion, all networks do that. I'm not going to say that no network does do that. They do, but I will say Triple G won't really get the credit a lot of people will want. They wouldn't do it because they just don't like the person behind Triple G's name. But he would gain a semi amount of respect if he beat Jamal Charlo.
You know, it's funny though. Like
I don't buy this bullshit. Hang on, honestly, I don't buy this bullshit about I don't buy this bullshit about hyping the Eastern European fighters because I was watching the Crawford fight the other day, and they were fucking talking about Crawford like he was the next coming of Jesus Christ. They were praising him like this guy was an all-time great. So I just think any fighter that's on their network, they just hype them up to be a lot better than what they are. So I wouldn't say it's a push towards Eastern Europeans because I've seen them do it with Crawford the other night, man. They were fucking hyping this guy.
Yeah, they do that to us, Crawford, because Crawford is the biggest name in Top Rank right now. But if you look at through history, they have been extremely biased against black fighters. And I would personally say I won't just be that person and say HBO is just completely based off race. They have an agenda. Some of the black fighters that they treated back in the past that they stepped on because they didn't appeal to what their agenda was, which was having a war every 5 minutes, appealing to the Mexican fans and having knockouts. You can look at what they did with Bernard Hopkins. They just trashed his name. People like Larry Merchant and Jim Lampley, people like Guillermo Rigondeaux just trashed their names because they didn't appeal to their agenda, which was get a lot of knockouts and appeal to the Mexican fans. Triple G appealed to the Mexican fans, and being a white fighter, they capitalized on it.
Look, I'm gonna say something about the HBO. It just dawned on me why the HBO crumbled. It's not because of the Triple G Canelo fight and Triple G fell. Canelo was from HBO too, if I'm not mistaken, right? I think Canelo did not sign with the HBO, and since he didn't sign with the HBO, and Triple G supposedly lost to Canelo, and that was the bottom line for HBO. They didn't want anything to do with it because
I don't think that's it.
I think that's what it was. Why would they sign? Why would they sign? You know, these deals don't just automatically happen like this. Boom. Oh, the deal's done. No. This talk with the zone has been going on probably a long, long time between Golden Boy and Eddie Hearn. And
it's so much more deeper than just one fighter. I think the only time where that probably would be the case if you just had somebody like a Mayweather Jr. doing it, where he was just racking in crazy revenue and sales. Where if you're talking about Canelo and Triple G, I do not think that would be the case. They do rack in good revenue, but it's not enough to really keep it going. They can't just take all these HBO specials away and just have one fighter fighting just to take over for HBO boxing. That's not how it works.
Canelo is a big name, bro. Canelo would
a big name, but
he would keep HBO alive, bro. But Canelo left.
His is not that big to push
Can I say
out
something?
HBO specials.
Can I say something on HBO and stepping on boring fighters like Rigondeaux, who nobody wanted to see? Klitschko was boring as fuck, and he was white last time I checked. And he was kicked out of HBO because he was boring as fuck, man. So I mean, let's stop the victimization here, right? Rigondeaux, of course, he was boring, and I think he should have stayed because he was a pound for pound. Well, kind of a pound. I mean, he did beat Donaire, who was at the time, they were hyping him up, all this fucking shit, right? But then Rigondeaux, I don't know, man. He was just so boring. Bolaron didn't like him. He was kicked out. He wasn't part of the. Like, you can understand, like, they didn't want to put him on TV, right? He was boring as hell. Like, he didn't even fucking try.
That's what I'm saying. Most of the fighters they did that with didn't appeal to their agenda.
Yeah, but they happened to be black. It's like it's not because they were black. It's because they were boring. So they were boring, right?
And I said that. I explained that. I'm saying that's what the media sees Triple G as.
Yeah, but you said something. So what's the correlation here between boring and black? I don't understand.
I've been saying for a while now. There was a generation of American fighters coming through. Most of them African American fighters that thought they could steal a living like Floyd did, to shot their way on the back foot, stick the joint out.
You're cutting off, man.
No one to sell anything. Yeah, my fucking internet, man. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah.
I was just saying that there was a generation of American fighters, a lot of, especially African American fighters, that thought they could Floyd to a boring points win on the back foot, and there's a lot of fighters coming.
You're cutting off, man.
Yeah,
these young guys.
Why don't you, hey, Stu, why don't you get out and come back in? It works.
Yeah.
Trust.
Anyways, my point is that there's no real correlation. They were boring, but they happened to be black. That's it. Like Klitschko was white and he was boring and he was kicked out. That's pretty much it, man. I mean, HBO loves Roy Jones and other black fighters. I mean, this is ridiculous, man.
Dude, it's ridiculous to say that black fighters are getting the worst.
Please.
Andre Ward, they were favoring Andre Ward over Kovalev, bro. It's ridiculous to say all this shit, man. It was supposed to be Kovalev the first fight.
And I watched Jacobs Golovkin, and they were all over Jacobs.
Kellerman was shitting on fucking Kovalev. Roy Jones was cooked.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me now, brother?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm coming off in a minute because my internet's fucking shit. I was just saying there's a generation of American fighters coming through that thought they could steal a living like Floyd on the back foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bad idea, man.
And that's where, it was nothing to do with race. It was to do with styles. And this new generation of American fighters have got a bit more about them. They're coming forward and throwing their hands. And I think, like I said, it wasn't nothing to do with race. It was to do with styles of fighting. And a lot of them were terrible to watch. Let's be real.
But I mean, do you see what's going on here? We're talking about, the drama of boxing, the outside of the ring drama. Look, people, Triple G, if he continues fighting, he's going to have a big fight. He's been taking big fights. He's been willing to fight everybody. He wanted the big fight against Canelo, and he got it. With Charlo, he wants a big fight as well, I get the feeling. But it's just the PBC doesn't want to play with anybody else. They don't want to negotiate. They want everything to be done in-house. And you've already seen guys like Jacobs, Amir Khan leave the PBC to get bigger fights. And I imagine now with the Zone and ESPN, I think a lot of these PBC fighters are going to start jumping ship, especially the ones that can't fight even twice a year.
Well, listen, why did they join the PBC? Because the PBC had a lot of money, right? Now, the Zone and Eddie Hearn, they also have a lot of money now. And they have, like, on their side, Joshua and Canelo, who are the biggest attractions in boxing right now. So now it's becoming, the game has changed, man. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I also want to say a couple of things about the Eastern European fighters in America. You can hear me, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, in the past, the most of the big boxing fights was happening only in America and only between Americans or between Americans and Mexicans and Puerto Ricans. Now boxing became more global. That's my first point. Second one is that so the big TV networks started to sign them up because also because they have good pedigree background of fighting in the amateurs on high level in amateurs, and then also being a stranger, a boxer who's a stranger in America. It's more difficult to pick and choose who are you going to fight. You have to get any opportunity that was given to you. And lastly, even when they reach some audience and when they become popular, usually they're when they are popular and there's some new American or Mexican boxing star, of course those networks are not going to be hoping that the Eastern Europeans is going to beat them, because they are never going to be as popular as Americans or as Mexicans, so it would mean less money for them.
Eastern European fighters get more shit than Mexican or black fighters do, man. That's all crap, man. Eastern Europeans are probably the worst fucking picked on fighters out of the bunch. That's ridiculous. I've seen it. I mean, I'm not gonna bullshit around. I've seen the fucking all that crap that they pull off on Triple G. Lomachenko, like Lomachenko is like Triple G and Lomachenko are actually nice. Kovalev, you could go ahead and pick on Kovalev. Kovalev is kind of like he's kind of a piece of shit. It comes off kind of like a piece of shit in a way.
Yeah, but it's too arrogant.
Yeah, you could pick on that guy. But those two guys, they're like fucking good boys, you know? Like they pick on those guys. They pick on Vladimir Klitschko. Got shit, you know, his attitude's a little bit off too. You could say he's robotic. Yeah, you could give him that kind of shit. Not Vladimir. Did I say Vitaly? Or I said Vladimir.
Well,
it doesn't matter. Both guys.
Both
I call them Vladina and Vitalia, the Klitschko sisters. That's how I refer to them.
Baby. Sexy hoes.
Sounds like sexy hoes, man.
Oh yeah. Listen, let's move on a little bit from this Golovkin thing, because we always end up with that shit. We were talking about the 140-pound tournament, and I think now we need to move on a little bit to. Actually, in the last episode, you guys talked a little bit about Jacobs Derevianchenko, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, somewhat. I mean, it was a kind of a rant show.
Did you? I think you took down the predictions, right?
No, we didn't. We didn't give any predictions.
I thought I did hear that you were going over to each person and asking them who was going to win.
Yeah.
I did. I didn't write them down, man.
Fucking guy doesn't even remember.
No, man.
Were you drunk or?
Alright, so maybe I can write them down, I guess.
Did you hear how he's pretending to have a piece of paper on hand? Like he's just rustling fucking leaves or something. And he's like, oh yeah, I got a paper right here. You don't got shit.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the face-off?
No, I didn't.
Did you guys see the face-off? The face-off between Derevianchenko and Jacobs?
Nope.
No.
That was the size difference. Jesus Christ. It's like he was like head and shoulders above the guy.
Yo, that's what I said. I made a video on BDA Live, and I checked BoxRec, and they say that Derevianchenko is 5'9", and Jacobs is 5'11.5", and that's bullshit. I think Jacobs is like 6'1", man.
That's what I said last time. He's 6'1". They bullshit around this shit, especially these big guys like Charlo, Jacobs, that go in this division. Even Hurd, they'll bullshit their fucking height.
Yeah.
To make it look like they're tall and shit. I mean, short for a division that's small, so they can't get criticized now. That's what it is.
Or maybe Derevianchenko is 5'7" instead of 5'9", man. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe something's off. Something's off. Definitely something's off. Here's my question to you guys. Same thing I was asking about Regis Prograis at the beginning of the show. What is it about Jacobs? Do you think he deserves to be ranked in the top 3 middleweights? Do you think he's underrated, overrated? Or like, what are your opinions?
Who wants to go first?
I don't know. I guess nobody.
I'd go first. I think he's great, bro. I think he's flat-footed, but he has a lot of power, and he has a lot of tools in his art. I just say, so I think he could catch Derevianchenko with an uppercut and drop him in this fight. Ooh. That's just like a special thing. His little peekaboo attack that he does. He's gonna catch him like that. He's gonna knock him down. I think he'll knock him out, but I'm not entirely sure about it. Not completely sure about it.
Yeah, because the thing about Jacobs is the reason why I ask you guys this is because there seems to be a lot of controversy, at least on this show, with the panelists and the.
What the hell's going on?
Yeah, official boxing scorecard. You need to mute your mic, please, if you're not gonna. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry guys.
No problem. No problem. Because the reason he's, I get the feeling a lot of people here, some people haven't respected Daniel Jacobs. I remember, and by the way, check out King Bucho's video that he posted on BDA Boxing Live about Daniel Jacobs versus Derevianchenko. But I get the feeling a lot of people don't respect Daniel Jacobs. I remember I did a video about Jacobs and how good he looked against Luis Arias, and people were saying, a lot of people were saying, well, okay, who gives a fuck about Luis Arias? And then Jacobs struggled against Suleki, which is a different style than what Derevianchenko is going to bring. So that's why I'm asking, where do you see Daniel Jacobs? Where do you see him standing in the division? Is he better than Charlo, but not as good as Golovkin or Canelo? Like, what are your opinions?
Well, I was in a similar situation before. When I saw him fighting against Golovkin, I told myself, well, I really underrated this guy. He's really good. Okay, beside the fact that the size helped him in that fight, but I don't mean to undermine him for that, but he boxed really great. He looked really good despite that he lost. But if you compare him to Charlo, well, Charlo is now in a similar situation. Jacobs was in that fight of Jacobs you were mentioning. What was the guy? Arias or what? What's the fight of Jacobs you were mentioning?
Luis Arias. When he fought Arias, a lot of people weren't impressed.
Yeah, well, I mean, Charlo is in a kind of similar situation to Jacobs now, because he's the guy now who's looking great against bums or subpar opponents, just like at least I've been saying that about Jacobs before Golovkin fight.
Right.
So who knows? I think even if Charlo had more experience, I think I would favor him against Jacobs. But definitely Jacobs is for me top 3, if not top 4. But I think top 3.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, that's why you brought up how good he looked. Well, at least how well he performed against Golovkin. But there's people that think that, well, he didn't do that well against Golovkin. That's what some people here think. Bucho, I'm referring to you. I know you don't give that much credit to Jacobs.
What do I mean? Against Golovkin?
Yeah, Jacobs against Golovkin. You thought that
what did I say?
I think I do remember saying you said all he did was run. All he did was
no, go on. When did I say? You probably think about Lara against Canelo or something.
Nah,
no, he didn't run all the time. He was kind of fucking ambushing Golovkin, but then Golovkin got kind of tired, and that's when Jacob started coming, landing some punches. But I think he lost the fight, but he did. He did okay. He went 12 rounds. So there you go.
All I'm saying is, Canelo went 24 rounds with Triple G. And I think that's giving the impression to some people that Triple G is human now. But listen, Jacobs going 12 rounds, that was very impressive. I don't see a lot of people being able to go 12 rounds against Triple G in this division.
Look, Jacobs did good against Triple G to survive. Triple G was pretty much, I had that fight like an 8-4 or maybe a 9, even a 9-3 for Triple G for that one. But he did, there was moments where Triple G did not engage, because I'm assuming that Jacobs hits pretty goddamn hard, and when he was hitting him on the gloves, it was still affecting him, slowing him down. And those rounds, he didn't do much, but he was the one that was active, so I gave him those rounds. But I mean, you could see Jacobs' face, man. It was busted up. He looked like Mr. Potato Head after the fucking fight.
Yeah,
man.
I agree with you.
It was the jab, and it was the jab that was doing all that damage.
It wasn't just a jab. It was just a jab. Like he did in the last round, especially the 12th round, even though Triple G's power wasn't there, he landed some devastating shots. Most of those bruises that he has on his face is from that 12th round. He did some 12 and 11. I guess he was like worried maybe it goes to decision and he will rob him or something like that. and he went crazy on him in that last 11 and 12 round. He was landing his jab on will on the 11th round. It was ridiculous. And he did land right hands on him, all kinds of shit on him. But, give Jacobs credit. He stood his ground.
But that's why he put all that weight. That's why he was weighing, I don't know, 185 or something.
Yeah, he did good. He did good. I think he'll do better than the rematch. He'll do even better in the rematch. But because Triple G is getting older, age is a major factor for Triple G now. Unless he takes some drugs on the side.
I don't think there's going to be a rematch.
You never know. It might be a rematch. If he beats Derevianchenko, Triple G goes after that belt.
Well, let's go through the gauntlet. Let's do the old exercise. Let's go through a couple of the list of the top middleweights. Jacobs against Billy Joe Saunders. Who do you guys have for that one?
Shit. I guess Saunders, man. I don't know.
You would pick Saunders over Jacobs?
I'm playing the fucking fight in my head, trying to figure it out, man. I don't know. Give me some time.
Because the way I see it is Saunders doesn't look all that great when he fights guys that won't commit to him. I'm talking like Willie Monroe, for example. And Jacobs is not a guy that's going to commit all that much. He's not David Lemieux. Far from it. So
exactly.
And he's got power.
I don't know about that. I think Saunders might outbox him because because he's like a little bit quicker on the reflexes. But I'm not saying he won't catch him. Jacobs might catch him. But Saunders has a chin on him too. It's not like he's gonna knock him out instantly once he catches him. Saunders, but Saunders is Saunders. If they fight in Britain, he would win by decision. But since I don't know what will happen if they fight, they might not fight in Britain. They might fight if that fight ever happens. They might fight in America if Jacobs takes the belt from Derevianchenko. I don't know. I have no idea. If it's America, I think Jacobs could take it, even though he might lose a round by round or two or something like that. But in England, it's not going to happen, bro. In England, it won't happen.
Yeah.
Hey, BDA.
Yeah.
Some of the comments that are here in the chat. Hawker Mustang says, now that Triple G is past his prime, these guys are coming out of the closet. Somebody here having a debate. He says, Charlo does want to fight. Why would he be trolling? Beating Triple G would be great for his legacy. I'm not saying he will beat Triple G. So he's saying basically that Charlo does want the Triple G fight. That's pretty much it.
All right. Well, I also see that people at Cyril Lowe is telling Big Daddy give it a rest. I agree. Listen, we get it. You want to see the Charlo Triple G fight. We want to see it too. It's a good fight.
We all want to see it. I don't know anybody who doesn't want to see that fight.
Exactly. But I also want to say about Daniel Jacobs versus Saunders is I think it would be an interesting fight, good boxing match, and Daniel Jacobs has the advantage of power. So if it's an even boxing fight, you have to take into consideration the power. All right. Daniel Jacobs, David Lemieux.
Jacobs.
You think...
well, you never know. I mean, if Jacobs makes a mistake, he slides out. I mean, like it'd be like that Pirog fight.
That's why I love Lemieux. That's why I say let Charlo fight Lemieux. He'll get the most credit that like Saunders got. Let him fight Lemieux. Let's see what happens. If he knocks him out, or who knows what happens. I mean, if he gets rocked, it'd be pretty interesting to see. If he pulls it off better than Triple G, then man, I'll be screaming for that fight. Let's make that shit happen.
Yeah, because Jacobs, he likes to get into exchanges more than Saunders. Saunders was always on the back foot, very cautious. But Jacobs, I get the feeling he's like kind of the guy who's going to all of a sudden forget about his opponent's power and just get into an exchange, and that might be deadly.
It might be deadly, but Jacob got a chin, man. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
He'll pull it off. I think he'll pull it off. I think he can pull it off.
Yeah, well, me too. I would pick Jacobs.
People are still hanging on the fact that Jacobs was knocked out by Pirog. It's going to be, 8 years now?
And yeah, I think 8 years, yeah. And he was knocked down by Sergio Mora. Come on.
Yeah, this
guy has no fucking power.
By the way, Cyril Lowe in the chat is asking, how do you pronounce it in Canada? It's Lemieux. Lemieux. Yeah. It is Lemieux.
He's a mule, bro. That's why they call him Lemieux.
Oh, now wait a minute.
It's like a mule, that's why. The motherfucker.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm not gonna stand here and let you badmouth a fellow Canadian. No way, Jose.
Hey, he's also an Armenian, so I can say whatever I feel like.
I thought he was Lebanese, man.
That's
you
what
think
I
he
heard.
half Lebanese or something, or 1/4 Lebanese?
Lebanese.
Yeah, it's Lebanese.
There's Lebanese Armenians too, bro. I'm
Oh,
pretty
yeah?
certain that he's Armenian
How
because
do you know?
it's the guys. I even checked online, man. I know.
Oh, okay.
He got like. I didn't believe automatically what the guy told me, and then I checked it. I was like, oh shit, he doesn't even look like an Armenian too. So.
Well, listen, they all fly on carpets anyway, so what's the difference? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Listen, we got Corruption Boxes in the chat room. Shout out to Corruption. He says Jacobs, he's Andrade's twin brother. Garbage. I wouldn't go that
Corruption
far.
doesn't like Andrade at all, man.
Why not?
I don't know.
Is it because
he's not impressed? I guess he's not impressed by Andrade. Can somebody please correct me for a final time? Is it Andrade, or
it's Andrade?
It's Andrade, man. He likes to be called Andre. It's simpler. It's just better. But he's very skillful, bro. That motherfucker is awesome. Even though he was fighting a bum, I still like Andrade. I like his skills. I like what he has to offer. He has a pop in his punches too, but his chin is suspect, man. I think his chin against any of the top punches like Triple G, Charlo, even Danny Jacobs, it's suspect. If he gets caught, he got caught by a bum that we don't know anything about, and he was hurt, visibly hurt. Like,
wait a minute,
who knows what will happen against the guys, those type of guys? He has to come up. He has to fight one of those guys to know, so we can consider him possibly the best.
Are you referring to him being hurt against Calzaghe?
The Walter guy that we just fought.
Oh, the last one. Yeah, because Andrade, I should say. Andrade, he's Panamanian or something, so I think that's why we should call him Andrade.
What?
Yeah, his mother is one of those.
He's like Monroe Jr. He's also half Panamanian or something.
Yeah, that's... Oh, okay, there you go. But what I'm saying is, Andrade looked good in certain fights when he was in the PBC. And, by the way, I think it's... boxing style doesn't... You believe that Martirosyan won the fight against Andrade, right?
Yeah, I checked it, man. I'm not biased to Armenians, bro. I looked at it and I saw that he beat him by 1 round. And I didn't even consider the knockdown as a 10-8 round. I considered it a 10-9 round. I thought Andrade, the bruise that Vanya's got was from that round. That was the first round. And he knocked him down, but it was like more like a off-balance shot. His feet were wasn't in the right place, so he got dropped. But at I even gave the rounds out, which if you go to my channel, you can see which I wrote down. This rounds is what I gave. I gave 5 rounds to Demetrius Andrade, and I gave 7 to Vanyas. And it was clear that he won. It wasn't. It's a close fight, so you can't say clear. But it was when I watched it, I said, yeah, it's definitely this guy. He won the fight. But it's whatever, man. It's a close fight. He got it. Congratulations, bro. I don't give a shit. Vanyas is not. Vanyas didn't fight for 2 years, bro. He's not the same. He's definitely not the same.
Well, listen.
Maybe he could have been a lot better. Maybe if he was active, he could have probably moved to 160. Had a few fights.
All right.
But I don't think 160 is his division anyway. I think 154 is his good shit.
Martirosyan, he did what he had to do. He had a nice little career. Let's leave it at that. Let's not start lambasting him for what he should have done and what he didn't do. Now listen, let's go back to Andrade, because some people in the chat room aren't very impressed with him. He's got fast hands. He's very athletic. I think he's a good fighter. I think what's going to hurt him is his defense, because he's not all he relies a lot on his physical gifts, as opposed to Daniel Jacobs, who is also physically gifted. But I get the feeling he's been working more on technique, especially these last couple of years. His defense is very good.
What's his age?
Jacobs or Andrade?
No, Andrade.
I think he's 31.
Yeah, 31.
31, yeah. So he's in his prime right now.
I think Martirosyan was like 35 or 34 or something. Right?
Yeah, he's been
washed up. He's on slide, man. You might not see it like that, but just because he might have been able to take better shots 2 years ago, he's not. He might not.
That guy never got a break, man.
Yeah, he beat Lara. He got a bullshit decision twice. I think he beat Lara, and Charlo he schooled the shit out of. Andrade was a close fight, very close fight, and they just fucked him over. There you
I
go.
wouldn't say
Eastern
he's
European
cool.
fighters don't get a slack, bro.
But I wouldn't say he's cool, Charlo, man. I mean, I need to see that fight
I saw
again.
the fight, dude. He schooled the shit out of him. That's still, I can't like. I mean, I gave like Charlo maybe 2 to 3 rounds. That's as far as I gave it to him. That's how bad it was.
The Shipper Sons in the chat says that Vanes is 32. Yeah, I think he's 32. He's not 34, 35.
He looks like 34, 35, man. If you look at his face, bro. Look at him. It's fucking like he has fucking gray hair all over his fucking shit. And you know, the motherfucker is like, he ain't. Also, I mean, he's like to drink and shit and all that kind of stuff too. It's not like he's keeping himself all healthy when he's inactive.
The Shepherd's Son says, "Never believe boxing style." Yeah, every time you say something boxing style, I'm gonna double check it on the internet. No offense.
What, his age?
Anything you say.
Oh, he does drink, dude. I'm telling you, he's the type of individual that he's gonna drink, he's gonna smoke. When he's off, he's gonna do all. He looks like the type.
Hey, BDA, in the chat, Steven Schneider says Andrade has been in the Victor Conti facility, looking like Hercules. Maybe that's why. Also, that's why corruption in boxing doesn't like Andrade. It's because he has something to do with Victor Conti.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. He was actually sparring when Victor Conti kicked Andrew Ward out of the gym. Remember that story that I told? That Gabriel Montoya was told this story, and then he told it in his podcast with Steve Kim, and that's where I got it from, because that's where I heard it. Long story short, Andrew Ward was friends with a guy that was gonna fight, I think, Demetrius Andrade or what's his name, Willie Nelson, one of those guys, and they were sparring there, and he shows up to the facility, which is a private facility, and he pulls out a camera and starts filming the sparring session, which means that he could probably take that sparring session to his friend who's going to be fighting the guy that's sparring. And Victor Conte kicked Andrew Ward out of the gym.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that's one story.
What the fuck was he doing there?
And by the way, anyway, I don't want to get into Andrew Ward. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, going to okay, whatever. I think I sent a link to Corruption, so I want you to play his new intro, but I didn't tell you where it is. So
oh boy,
I'll tell you the Hangouts.
All right,
just play the MP3.
I like how Andrew Ward compares himself to people like Terrence Crawford and Mayweather and what's the other guy that there's one more individual he's comparing himself to, Roy Jones Jr. and shit like that. You motherfuckers were way more skillful than you were at your best.
Did he compare himself to Jesus Christ as well?
Probably.
Well, he's the son of God, right?
It would be SOJ instead of G. Son of Jesus.
Well, listen, I didn't want to get into the Andrew Ward thing because you know my thoughts on Andrew Ward. I think he's a hypocrite. And now listen, I know people are going to say, well, come on, BDA, which one of us isn't a hypocrite? We're all hypocrites. And I agree. We all suffer from hypocrisy. But the way this guy conducts himself and puts himself on a pedestal.
Oh, and then he's always quoting Bible quotes on Twitter.
Listen,
I mean, these people who are always quoting Jesus and the Bible are always the worst people, man. Usually. I mean, sometimes maybe not, but a lot of times, yeah. They're trying to act as they're good, pious people.
Hypocrite.
Oh, okay. I didn't want to get into it, but now that you've asked.
Oh, my God. What, you got your goosing?
Yeah, the way he talks about being a Christian and turning the other cheek, and meanwhile he's blocking people left and right. The way he treated Kovalev during the build-up to the fight, the guy did nothing to him. He was giving the cold shoulder, to Cathy Duva as well. All these types of, then all the types of backdoor shenanigans with him and Virgil Hunter. And the way he fights, he doesn't fight like a Christian soldier. Let me tell you something right now. If you're a Christian man,
what's the Sakio Bika fight? He was headbutting that shit out of Sakio Bika, man. That was dirty. He knows what he was doing. You don't think a guy like him knows what he's doing, what type of style? He's doing that on purpose for sure.
Right. That's why I didn't want to get into it. Because
the question is, what is he doing with James Prince? What is he doing with James Prince, bro? He's a son of God. What is he doing with James Prince?
Exactly. There you go. See, that's
the biggest thing that people, I think, butcher him about. Fuck his fighting style. He's a dirty fighter. Okay.
Listen, I didn't want to get into it because we open up a can of worms. I mean, look, if you don't see that Andrew Ward is a hypocrite. All right, fine, but I mean, I don't want to. I'm not here to hate
and
the guy.
then just retires after 2 tough fights. 2
All right,
controversial fights,
Bucho. I
and
just
decides
said
to
I don't
retire.
want to. Bucho, I just said I don't want to get
offended
into
by
it.
these type of talks, man. I'm just saying, how is that? Don't even seem like something that's really hypocritical. At first, if you say he blocks people on Twitter, there's everywhere where you get enough fame where you just people are gonna have naysayers, and then they just have to get away with those naysayers because when you have so much fame, they're just people that's not going.
Oh, you cutting off there.
Then if you say if he just doesn't fight like a son of a guy, first of all, if you're talking about somebody as far as fighting style, the people are in it to win. Their greats have got away with abusing or bending the rules to their advantage. Andre Ward I think he's broken almost every rule in the rule book as far as, except with something like biting or something like that, or hitting not with the hands.
Is that very Christian? Is that Christian-like behavior?
That's what I'm saying. He's a hypocrite.
How do you expect a Christian to fight in boxing? It's boxing. You beat up people for a living.
Exactly.
Well, there's rules though, and you try to bend the rules. Even bending the rules constantly, in my opinion, is wrong.
Great.
You guys are cutting off, by the way. I think it's because I'm trying to look something up here. Yeah, you guys there?
Another great fighter did it. I mean,
all right, guys.
So how can you give him flack for doing it? If you don't give them flack, then that's.
How do you know I haven't?
Well,
shit. You people keep cutting off. You guys are cutting off. I don't know if you can hear me. Yeah. Jeez, Luis. You know what? Fuck this shit. I'm gonna close what I got open here.
Grace didn't break Andre Ward has broken, bro. He's broken some massive rules, bro.
And now we're defending people who break rules. I mean, we're talking about Andre Ward. Now we're talking about all the.
Listen, hold on. I gotta interject here. Because that's exactly what I didn't want. I told you guys I dislike Andre Ward, but I didn't want to get into this whole thing because I don't want to waste time. Hold on. Let me just say this. Please. Let me just say this. Can you hear me, man? Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me? Please, can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me?
He beats up people for a living. He can't just say I'm a Christian.
Listen, hold on a second.
The king is here.
Can you guys hear me?
Bro,
can you guys hear me?
Yeah, that's not. That's against the rules. I don't care. You can call it bending the rules because the ref didn't see it.
Hey guys,
it's illegal.
Bucho, can you hear me, man?
All-time greats have gotten.
I don't care. Well, that's wrong.
Bucho.
I don't know how that makes it right or correct.
Alright, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm having some technical difficulties here. Can you guys hear me? 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 Can you guys? No, they can't fucking hear me. I know you guys in the chat room can hear me, but I mean, guys, can you fucking everybody? Jesus, Luis, you know what? Guys, can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Let's make it complex then.
Can you guys? All right, sorry, I had to shut that down because what happened was something happened on the Hangouts. And they couldn't fucking hear me because it got frozen. You could hear them. They couldn't hear me. We're going to have to restart this shit again. Sorry about that. All right. This show has just run into a whole bunch of technical difficulties. All right. So I've just sent out another invite. We're going to restart the fucking Hangout. That's why, but I just want to clear something up. You guys know I dislike Andrew Ward because he's a hypocrite. But I'm not going to turn this show into the, Andrew Ward hate hour. I don't want it to turn into that. I say I dislike him. Let's move on. But now I couldn't get a word in edgewise because of the technical difficulties, and it went up. I think I opened up a can of worms by saying that's not how a Christian soldier works. Fights. I mean, I gotta tell you, I shouldn't have said that. Butch, are you there?
Yeah.
All right. I had to shut off the Hangout because it froze. And then when it came back, you guys weren't hearing me at all. Sometimes you guys can't hear me, but this time it was non-fucking stop. So I had to shut it off because again, like I was telling people in the Hangout, in the chat, I didn't want this to turn into the fucking Andrew Ward hate hour. So could you send the invites back to people so we can everybody? Yeah, please. Everybody was on the Hangout. Just heads up, I had to close the Hangouts because of technical difficulties. You guys couldn't hear me. and I was trying to tell you guys that I didn't want to talk about Andrew Ward. I had to move it on. So we're gonna get you guys back on. Just give us a couple of seconds so that Pucha can resend you guys invites. But yeah, let's move on from Andrew Ward. Listen, we start talking about Andrew Ward. I know where this is gonna go. The second Kovalev fight, and whether there were low blows or not, I don't want to.
Well, no, I think we all agree he was dirty. The thing is, we disagree on whether it's correct to be dirty. You know, and the other fighters were dirty as well, so I guess it's fine that Andrew Ward was dirty. I don't get it. But
nah, I don't think.
Anyways,
I mean, listen.
To each, everybody has their own opinion. So
I wanted to talk, because I wanted to stick to the fucking Jacobs and Andrade and all that. All right.
Hey, did you find Corruption's intro?
Yes, I found it.
You're missing the point, King Bucho.
No, but okay, but hold on. I don't want to. I said from the beginning.
BDA doesn't want to continue. We'll do it another time. We'll do it when
we can talk about that. I opened up a can of worms. I opened up a can of worms.
I'll tell you what. We'll talk about Andre Wood when Andre Wood comes back out of retirement.
That's a good point. Listen. I don't want to. Hold on, but boxing, battle rifle. I don't want to. That's why I said I opened up a can of worms. I don't want to get into Andrew Ward. Let's just agree to disagree on this. I don't want this to turn into the Andrew Ward hate hour, because that's not how it's done here at BDA Boxing. Whether you dislike somebody or not, I don't want it to turn. I mean, it's unnecessary. It's gonna get us nowhere, and I shouldn't have said it from the beginning. All right, Bucho, you wanted me to play Corruption in Boxing's new intro, right? All right, somebody's crying in the background. What the fuck? I heard somebody crying. All right, hold on a second. All right, so we got Corruption in Boxing on the line, and we want to ask him a couple of things about whether he hates Demetrius Andrade. Let's move on from hating Andrew Ward to Demetrius Andrade.
Let me break it down for all you fucking retards. I'm very happy I placed a large bet as well, just to prove that word is bond. But so who's standing tall now, you little motherfuckers?
All right, so we got Corruption in Boxing on the line. And by the way, that was the new intro. And I realized that we got Boxing Style. He's been here a while. We still haven't gotten him an intro. But Boxing Style, could you do us a favor? Because we have about, I don't know, 50 or more hours of you on this podcast. And I'm trying to look at some of the best quotes you've had so we can put in the intro. So could you do us a favor while we're doing that? If you remember any of your best quotes or any episode where you had some great quotes, send them to us on Google Hangouts so we can get this done faster. You think you could do that?
I think I got one when I said Stu don't know shit about boxing. That's probably the best one I had.
How about when you call Cameron a fag? I mean, come on. That was every episode. Every episode. All right, so yeah, all right. Corruption in Boxing is on the line. Corruption, are you there?
Yes.
All right, thank you for being on. Let's get down to it. Bucho was reading that tweet about Andrade working with Victor Conte, and apparently the rumor around Twitter is that the guy is fucking jacked. He's looking jacked. What have you heard about that? And is it evident that Andrade might be on something?
You know, I'm not sure, BDA, but I know that Victor Conte has designed some supplements, and clearly, Demetrius Andrade has been ingesting them. So, put 2 and 2 together, and there's your answer.
So you don't think Victor Conte has gone legit, as he claims?
Victor Conte is a cocksucker. He's a paid snitch. So.
Now that type of language is completely unnecessary. But I mean, listen, this is a guy that you have to wonder with criminals, because he says he's reformed and all that. But would he have stopped had Memo Heredia not snitched on him?
Exactly. When they've obviously made him a deal further to the baseball scandal, where he was going to be charged and sentenced. I think his incarceration would have been quite a long time, but given his knowledge within the sport, in terms of the chemists he's worked with, the distributors, the athletes, not only in track and field, US Postal Team in cycling, the Major League, Baseball League as well. So his knowledge was vast. They've obviously cut a deal with him. Subsequently, there were if you recall, there were what 11 batters who were subsequently brought down for steroids charges. So, what was the source of the information, I wonder?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen anything from Andrade to say that he's on something, but I wouldn't be surprised that he is on something. It's not like Billy Joe Saunders with the abs and shit that you could clearly see. So he's maybe did something, but Andrade, I haven't seen anything like that to go off like that. And his fighting hasn't, like, it's not like he's gone in there and slugged it out with some heavy puncher and he's took shots like Jacobs and shit. You know what I mean?
I wish he was on something. I wish he was on anabolic steroids because his boxing game has deteriorated so much. I really wish they gave him a cocktail of Delta 22 and PP134.
Andrade?
Yeah.
Oh, people are cutting off again. What's going on with Hangouts?
I disagree. I've watched a lot of him in the amateurs, and he's pale in comparison to what he was. He's fat. He's slow.
Oh boy.
Is awful. No, I think he's
maybe off balance because he's awkward as fuck, but not really anything else besides that. I haven't seen it. Maybe you've seen something. Maybe you're right, bro. I haven't seen anything like that one.
No power. You're talking about a fighter who's got no ambition, no dedication, an extremely poor resume. He's made so many bad decisions within the sport, continues to make them. He has gratification for a victory like that against an absolute fucking novice. The guy has never even left Namibia to the United States.
I knew that was gonna be the outcome. That's why I was like, watch this fool take this fight easily, bro. And the odds were so ridiculous. Like it was, what was it, like negative 11,000 or some shit?
Yeah, it was bad.
It was so bad. I was like, because it's so obvious when you watch Walter fight. He's so stiff, and everything he throws, he already lets you know, I'm gonna throw that punch. You know what I mean? Like,
the thing with Andrade as well is that, when he won the WBA regular title over in Germany when he fought Jack Colke, I said to myself, fine, now is a perfect time for him to try and get a fight with Erislandy Lara, because the regular and the super, the sanctioning bodies would have a consolidation to get rid of one of the belts. So if his promoter was strong enough to make that case, he could have got the Lara fight very easily. And I would have said, okay, maybe he does have ambition. He couldn't have got it outright. Maybe he can force the sanctioning bodies to order that fight. But what did he do? He immediately vacated and moved up. So that was just a bullshit cherry title that he picked up. No aspiration.
You know what he reminds me of? Mikey Garcia, kind of. Because he uses other people's names. But at the same time, Mikey Garcia has a way better resume than fucking Andrade.
No, hold on. Now, we're gonna go back to fucking Mikey Garcia boxing style. Come on.
I'm sorry.
Back to Mikey Garcia.
Yeah, back to Mikey Garcia, man. No, I won't allow it. You gotta have some standards here. You gotta have some fucking standards.
Why not? Who doesn't like Mikey Garcia?
I'll tell you who doesn't like him. No, actually, there's a lot of people that don't like him because I do agree.
I like his style. I don't like the way he's been handling his career. That's for sure.
I've said it before, man. The guy has a foot out the door. He doesn't like boxing all that much. I think he just wants to make his money and get the fuck out and just shoot guns in the desert all day. That's what he wants to. Oh, he become a cop. He wants to become a cop. So, I mean, I don't know. He doesn't seem like he's all that into boxing. But listen, I didn't want to get into the whole Mikey Garcia thing. We're talking about Andrade and Victor Conti and all that. I was thinking about doing a video on old fights. I mean, not old fights, but I'm talking fights from 15, 14 years ago. I forget, man. Shane Mosley was on the juice when he beat De La Hoya the second time. And it seems like, okay, he admitted it in court. He was never caught on a test. But then again, back in 2003, they were only doing piss tests. Good luck catching him with just a piss test. But then he had to admit in court that he was on something before the fight. So I mean, what do you guys think when somebody gets caught with something there's boxing writers have said, some of them have said that once you get caught with something, you should never be allowed into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. What do you guys think?
Well,
go ahead.
Okay, thanks. So it would be great, but in reality, being that a lot of fighters are under juiced up and all that, in that case, if they ever get caught, half of boxing world would be banned.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but we're talking about officially, the people that are officially being caught. I mean, we can assume that a lot of people are taking something, but only a few have been caught only a few elite fighters have been caught red-handed.
Oh yeah, well, definitely. Maybe not be banned for life, but for a couple of years. The things that happen with I don't really want to get into Canelo, but 6 months, come on, because he's fighting 2 times a year anyway. It was ridiculous. So I'd give them at least 2 or 3 years.
Well, there you go. You seem to have.
But you were saying, BDA, you were saying that whether they should be
inducted
in the Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's
tough
what I was
say, man. I mean, depends on how they perform. You know, even on the juice, if they perform pretty good, I guess they do still deserve a shot to be in the Hall of Fame. It's not. They shouldn't be removed off of the Hall of Fame. I mean, Holyfield is just juiced the fuck up, man. Like, he's still in the Hall of Fame. Why not the guys of modern, present day boxers? They should do the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you made a great point.
Go ahead, Corruption. You want to say something?
Yeah, see, BDA, that's a very much a loaded question, because I think the fundamental point is which institution has conducted the drug testing. Because if you're talking about VADA in the last number of years now, remember they're a private entity. You know, they're funded by, and they conduct testing at the behest of a sanctioning body. So they're not accredited partner of the World Anti-Doping Association. So they don't follow WADA's rule. They follow their own rules. So I feel they're tainted. I've got no credibility in them. I think, the sanctioning bodies pretty much dictate how they conduct their testing, who to. The reports come straight to them. So, look at USADA over the last 30 years. I mean, what the fuck have they done? They failed about 700 different times. Athletes getting the way they did. The entire US postal team in the Tour de France. None of them can really be tested, BDA. So when you're talking about removing somebody from a Hall of Fame, well, there's no accountability in any of the institutions that do the testing. So
to me, the VADA and the WADA, this is my conspiracy, though. I'm just going to throw it out there. I think that the reason why they made this shit is to prevent Eastern European fighters, top-level Eastern European fighters like Loma, like Triple G, like Kovalev, to not be able to take this shit, so they will be more human-like against these Western-type fighters. That's my opinion.
That is crazy, bro.
But I'm gonna be real with you, dog. If you inject Triple G with some crazy shit, what do you think is gonna happen?
What?
What do you think is going to happen, bro? What do you think is going to happen to somebody like Canelo? What do you think is going to happen to anybody he faces? It's ridiculous to say that, oh, no, that's not right. Because that Olympic shit that happened not too long ago, I don't know when was it, that they busted all the... You know how many motherfucking Americans have been on this shit, bro? You're like, come on, man.
But ridiculous. You know how many Eastern European fighters they caught, though? And they caught a lot. They caught like a whole team of them. So, I mean, we could say it's just as bad as America. It's the exact same.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say, they all can take it, but they're trying to limit the fucking ones that from the Eastern European side to take it. That's what I'm trying to get at. They could all take it. For all I give a shit.
They mostly, if you're trying to go for a WBC belt, you pretty much have to be enrolled in VADA now. So, I don't see how that's really favoring one side.
Yeah, I don't think it's aimed at Eastern Europeans. And on the other hand, Seamen, the only thing they're doing is doing the tests. They have no rights to. They just simply conduct the testing, and that's all. And after all, it's up to the boxing organizations to decide if the fighter that's been doping is going to get banned or not. So they have no power to decide what is going to happen with boxers. They just conduct the tests, and I think. I firmly believe that they are way better than USADA, but of course, they are not perfect.
Yeah, I mean, it's especially when you consider that the fact that these guys who develop these drugs are always going to be one step ahead. It's kind of hard. Listen, I assume that every top fighter is probably on something.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, how do you determine?
It would not surprise me.
Exactly. You have to.
I always work on the threshold that 90% of top level fighters have been doing it, are doing it, and will continue to do it.
Until they're caught. Everybody guilty till proven innocent.
Yeah. So how come some fighters are getting caught and others are not?
Because some people are just actually doing drugs, or they just have better masking substances.
Yeah.
Now it's rhetorical, Butcher. You know the answer.
What is it?
That's the sanctioning bodies there. They're pretty much deciding. Champions are no longer winning belts. Champions are more or less selected, and the rest of them are just dispersed out through drug testing. That's their mechanism of getting the fighters they want to hold the belts, whether it's due to sanctioning fees or whatever else. But that's the way boxing has become now. It's a cartel.
That's true.
It's an oligopoly.
Oh, you guys are cutting off. Are you still there?
I mean, they did promise Charlo a shot at the WBC middleweight championship, and then all of a sudden that's taken away, and he has to fight Golovkin, which wasn't even part of the initial, deal that it was made. So, yeah, they now, it's a cartel, man. They protect certain champions, they create certain champions, they test.
And you know what's another?
It ain't my bad. Abstract. It ain't just in the boxing, bro. It's in the UFC too. You know how long Khabib was supposed to get a title shot? He was supposed to be champion like 2-3 years ago. The only reason why he hasn't been is because Dana's been fucking. He doesn't like that shit. He don't want the Eastern fucking champion. He didn't want Gegard Mousasi. That's a Armenian guy. Really good Armenian-Iranian fucking fighter. Really good. Middleweight division. You're supposed to get a title shot. They put up Whitaker up there, and now Whitaker's champion. Don't take anything from Whitaker. Whitaker's a great boxer. Great UFC fighter. But it got to a point where Gegard got so pissed off that he's like, "Fuck this shit. I'm gonna go to a different MMA. What do you call it? Organization." So
that's the thing.
Organization. It ain't just in boxing. It's
Mousasi
in MMA too. I've seen it.
Mousasi's with Bellator, right? What, Mousasi's with Bellator, or is he back with the UFC?
I think he's in Bellator. He's not back UFC. He just hates fucking Dana White, man. That motherfucker was top 5 for a long time, beating all the top 5 guys, and he wasn't even getting a shot at a title, bro. It's ridiculous.
Well, what did Jimmy say about Dana White? That even his own mother said that the guy's a piece of shit.
Dana White is a full-blown fucking racist. Yeah, he said something about his mother. He didn't go to his grandma's funeral or something. Some shit like that. I forgot what it was. He was supposed to pick up his grandma. That has his grandma he's very close with, something like that, and he never picked her up. He never got somebody to do it for him. Weird shit like that. But that's nothing. That's not what it is. I've seen racism not just against Eastern Europeans. I've seen him against black fighters too. Dana White's pulled off. He doesn't like Tyron Woodley, and when Tyron Woodley won that fight, he actually walked out of the fucking auditorium or stadium. Yeah.
I just think for him, if it makes sense, if it makes money, it makes sense. I don't know if he's that really. I don't know. But I do know that when Joan Jones was going around ramming into pregnant women on the streets and high on coke, Dana White was pretty willing to cut him some slack. So I just think if it makes money, it makes sense for him. It's not about race necessarily. Maybe he is a racist. I don't know, but I certainly haven't seen. I've seen him favor the fighters that make money. I mean, even they're gonna bring Brock Lesnar back, and now that they're testing over there at UFC, Brock Lesnar all of a sudden looks. I mean, he's still a big dude, obviously, but he doesn't look like he did 3-4 years ago. Is it age or is it?
He's lost weight. He's lost a hell of a lot of muscle. I think he had to re-register in.
Oh shit! People fell off.
Well, this 1-on-1, baby.
No, man. No, they'll come back. But yeah, I just want to get back
to... Put on your gloves, bro. It's sparring match. Let's go.
All right, I'm out of here. No, I'm kidding. Listen, I want to get back to... All right, so Butch is back. I'm waiting for Corruption to come back because I want to see what he has to say about registering for
Brock
the drug
Lesnar.
testing. Yeah, Brock Lesnar registering for the drug testing. But so, all right, so official boxing scorecard is back. Well, look, let's go to the comments a little bit, real quick. Mel Gibson, shout out to Apology Man, by the way. This is racism, John Jones, Silva, exactly. Mel Gibson says, what the fuck, Mel Gibson? He says, get the fuck out of here. Tyron Woodley is the LDBC of MMA. All right, okay, so Corruption in boxing is back. Corruption, what were you going to say?
Shit, I don't know where I was coming with. In terms of his physical appearance, you can see that he's lost a significant amount of upper body muscle mass from what I saw.
Andrade?
Brock Lesnar.
Oh, Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, I think he's been involved in testing for the past 4 or 5 months. So clearly a correlation between that testing and his upper body and his strength itself. So you can clearly see, he was definitely on anabolic steroids for a good sort of 5 years, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, definitely.
It wouldn't make a difference against DC. DC's gonna kill him. DC's on a whole different level, man. DC would destroy all of them in the heavyweight division. Except I don't know about that John Jones if he comes to the heavyweight division. It'd be interesting. I'll pick DC because he hits harder in the heavyweight division. But that fight's not happening in heavyweight. It's gonna happen in light heavyweight if they fight again.
You think so?
Yeah, because he said it. I was like surprised. I thought he would challenge him up in the heavyweight, but he said I want him at light heavyweight because I guess if he beats him in heavyweight, then it's not quite it's not as impressive in his mind. I guess I don't know.
What is the light heavyweight weight?
Same as boxing.
It's not. Wait. Light heavyweight's 205.
No, light heavyweight's 205.
Yeah.
You said heavyweights, right?
No, I said light heavyweight.
Oh, light heavyweight is 205. Yeah, it's 205.
Yeah,
because Brock Lesnar, when Lesnar was in his prime on steroids, he was weighing about 285 pounds.
Lesnar's what?
When Lesnar was at his prime in terms of being jacked up, he was around 285 pounds.
Yeah, same as boxing, as I said, with heavyweights.
No, actually, heavyweights, you have heavyweights. There's a cap. You can't weigh more than 265, I think.
I think you can go ahead and weigh 300. They're not gonna say shit.
Well, yeah, maybe.
I mean,
that's true.
It's a heavyweight, bro. They do the same shit with boxing. They want you around that 260 area, but I mean, some guys can't cut that kind of weight. They're too big.
Apparently, fucking what's his name? The guy Ndongo? No, not Ndongo. The guy who fought Mio. What's his name? Miocic? I can never spell his name. The Croatian guy.
Stipe Miocic?
Miocic. Well, whatever. Yeah, he fought
it's pronounced Miocic.
Miocic.
There it is, Miocic.
Well, the guy he beat, this huge, big old African black guy, I think he has to cut weight to make heavyweight because in the UFC you can't weigh, like I said, more than 265. And you may be right, boxing style. Maybe they'll let, like if it's Brock Lesnar showing up and he weighs 300 pounds, maybe they play with the scales and let him in there. But that's all I was going to say.
Dude, they want like somebody like AJ to fight in the octagon. What do you expect? Like they're gonna make a division for AJ? Hell no, they're gonna fucking keep the heavyweight.
Well, remember a couple of years ago, that was a debate in boxing, was whether they should have a super heavyweight division for guys like Vladimir Klitschko, Tyson Fury, Wilder, guys that are just way too big. Because it's true, at some point, I mean, you have a guy that's 6'5", 250 pounds. He's fighting a guy that's 6'1", 210 pounds or 230 pounds. I mean, even if the guy weighs 230, it's a big size difference. It's a big height difference, I should say.
That's a great point. You've only got to look at Jarrell Big Baby Miller and Thomas Adamic a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
There was like 80 or 90, about 90 pounds difference in body weight between the two. That fight should never have been sanctioned.
That's why the heavyweights are so revered, man. Because what weight division? What are you talking about? It's like they fight at whatever weight they feel comfortable at. It's ridiculous.
I don't really like adding up the new divisions because we already have too much divisions, but it's not looking good. I really think that they should separate them.
Well, even Baby Miller. Oh shit! People dropped off again.
Oh, one-on-one again.
Oh my goodness! Shit. What's going on here? Even Baby Miller was crying after the Thomas Adamic fight. I showed you the footage of him in a hotel room with fucking what's his name, with Adamic, and Adamic was shirtless. He's got his wife in there, and Baby Miller's crying. It was a bizarre scene, but even Baby Miller knew.
Why was he crying? I haven't seen this.
Well, apparently they're friends, and he beat up his friend.
Oh,
and also, Burger King was closed, so he couldn't get his post-fight meal after the fight. But
the funniest shit I've seen is him and Luke Rockhold, the MMA fighter. They had they strung up a Big Mac on the back of a truck, and they were making him chase the Big Mac. And every time he got close, they speed up the vehicle. And they made him run for a long, long time, bro. I didn't think he stopped. They stopped for him to eat that shit. They just continued.
My goodness gracious! I gotta tell you, man. What was his name? Baby Miller. I remember that I was watching the video of him. He goes to Shannon Briggs' gym, and then he goes up to, he's shaking everybody's hand, Baby Miller, and then he goes up to Steve Earn, who's just sitting there on the ring, and he goes, "Oh, Steve Earn, world champ." I mean, he was only world champ for a day, but he was world champ. And then Shannon Briggs goes like, "No, back off." And as he's pulling Baby Miller back, fucking Steve Earn kicks a chair over and tries to attack what's his name, Baby Miller. And I'm thinking, man, this Baby Miller talks shit, man. And he was just playing around, but you could tell he pissed Steve Earn off. But
I like Baby Miller, man. I like his attitude. He's hilarious. He's like Tyson Fury, the Black Tyson Fury, though.
The Black Tyson Fury. Yeah, he does.
Fury, bro. Of our era, he's the Black Tyson Fury. He talks a lot of shit. It's enjoyable.
Well, Bucho was talking about that. Yeah, Bucho was talking about that. Tyson Fury is going to be on the Joe Rogan podcast tomorrow. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens there. I'm interested to see whether Joe Rogan is going to bring up some of the controversial statements that Tyson Fury has made over the years. Is he gonna kiss his ass? Is he gonna try to go after him? I don't know. It should be a very entertaining podcast.
I got a feeling he's gonna protect what's his name?
Tyson Fury.
Wilder. They'll protect Wilder.
Well, you know who's a Wilder fan? Is the guy Brandon Schaub, one of Rogan's friends. He's a frequent guest. He's a huge Deontay Wilder fan. I mean, I think they actually might be friends. I don't know, but.
He says he's a friend of everybody that's big, bro. He doesn't want to get on the bad side of anybody. He never said, "I hate that motherfucker" on television. When is he gonna say that?
Well, that's what I was trying to get at with the whole Andrew Ward thing, because like I've said before, I dislike Andrew Ward, but then again, putting out that negative energy out there and me bad mouthing the guy, it gets you nothing. So that's why I didn't want to go to it. And so, when people go after a certain fighter. This guy's ducking this guy. This guy's ducking that guy. Oh, this guy's a bitch. And they talk nonstop about that guy. all that negative energy goes back to you. So that's why I'm always amazed when you got haters, as they call them, or trolls in a boxing message board or whatever, and you're thinking, man, really, you're wasting your time, man. It's not getting you anything. Maybe some instant gratification in the moment.
I mean, it's ridiculous to talk about a guy that did whatever. Like, what was it, last year he fought?
Uh-huh.
Was the last? It's just pointless. Forget about him. Leave him dry.
Yeah.
He ain't doing shit anyway.
Yeah, anyways, he's retired. Yeah, and you know what? For example, I'm a big Pacquiao fan, and most of the time during the so-called Mayweather beef, I was on Pacquiao's side, and there was some people on the internet that were saying the same thing I've been saying about Pacquiao, but they were so fanboyish, so annoying with that repeating over and over like Pacquiao was their god. Despite that, they were saying the same things I've been saying and thinking about Pacquiao, defending him against Floyd fanboys.
Mhm.
But the way those guys are acting as if they didn't have anything other in their life going on except for following Pacquiao and being his lawyers on the internet.
Absolutely, man. And that Mayweather-Pacquiao saga is going to go down as one of the most pathetic things we ever went through in boxing. I mean, my goodness gracious, it took them 5 years to make the fight. And let's face it, we were all excited about it when it finally was announced. And in the end, the pay, you know what it was? It was like a ruined orgasm. All the build-up, everything was there, and then boom, the fucking whore you're with fucks everything up at the end. That's what it was. It was a whore, fucking two whores. Because I'm not gonna let Pacquiao off the hook. Two whores, two dirty whores in Pacquiao and Mayweather gave us a ruined orgasm, or fucking cum dripped off the dick like an old dick. And I gotta tell you, am I being dirty? Am I being too graphic? Yeah, but that's how I feel. That's how I feel about that goddamn saga. And I tell you what, I don't want to talk about it ever again. What do you think about that?
What about May Pack 2, huh? Coming up, bro.
You know what other saga I hated? Roy Jones Hopkins 2. It took him what, 17 years? Or am I wrong? No, wait, hold on.
I can't stand Hopkins, man. Hopkins is one of the most boringest fighters for me.
One of the most boringest fighters.
Yeah, one of the most boringest fighters. If he's more boring than Ward is, let's say that much.
No way.
Oh, come on, bro. He is. He's very boring.
No,
Did you see him fight with Calzaghe? Did you see what he was doing? Jesus Christ.
But I think he was most of the times he was really fighting really ugly, but at least against some opponents he looked like really nice. You could really see some really nice moves, some real boxing skills. I'm not saying that Ward is a bum, but he's so overrated, and he showed. Man, don't get me started. But no, okay, I disagree.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Ward is a better boxer in my opinion, than Hopkins is.
Oh,
I just said it. I don't care if somebody spreads the word around. I think Ward is a better boxer than Hopkins is.
Well, listen, can I say something?
Calling Ward Bernard Hopkins version.
He's a dirty motherfucker, but still, I'll give him.
Hold on.
Credit over Hopkins.
I've been calling him big hop, poor man's version.
Listen, we gotta put things into perspective, guys. On the one hand, I've just told you that I dislike Andrew Ward, and I'm about to tell you that I'm a Bernard Hopkins fan. I've been turning into less and less of a fan because some of the things he did. That being said, I've also defended Ward's skills on this show, my dislike for him notwithstanding. But here's the main difference between Hopkins and Ward. Like Mel Gibson in the chat said, when Hopkins was 30 years old defending his IBF middleweight title, he was going after dudes and fucking them up. He was especially before he won the title, he was a one-handed puncher for the most part, and he was going after guys looking like a middleweight Tyson. When Andre Ward was 30, he was fighting like an old Hopkins with the clinching and the clutching and the dirty tactics. So I understand Hopkins.
I gotta agree that I like that persona about Hopkins that he'll go after, but I'm talking about skill for skill. I think Hopkins does not beat Ward skill for skill. Best of Ward. I'm talking about the Super 6, Ward. That Ward. He doesn't, even though he's dirty. Let's take the dirty shit out of the equation. He doesn't beat him.
A super middleweight,
better boxer.
A super middleweight Hopkins, which we never saw really, against Andrew Ward. Like I'm talking prime Hopkins, 32, 33-year-old Hopkins, against a 30-year-old version of Andrew Ward. Hopkins wins. That's my opinion. I think he beats Andrew Ward.
I got nothing against it. I mean, he got his own ways, but I think the other way.
Well, hold on a second.
He got thing. He can nullify a lot of things, but so does Andre Ward. Andre Ward does the same exact shit. That's why he's so goddamn boring. He can nullify a lot of things.
I just think the difference would come down to the offense. I think young Hopkins had better offense than Andrew Ward. Like I said, Andrew Ward, when he was 30, he was fighting like an old Hopkins, having to clinch and slow the action down. Hopkins wasn't doing that when he was 30 years old. He was fighting.
Yeah, I commend him. I still think he's boring.
All right. Well, no, yeah, I didn't say he was always entertaining. I mean, you look at the Keith Holmes fight, boring fight. The first Robert Allen fight, boring fight. But he did have, he beat the shit out of Glenn Johnson. And we're talking a young Glenn Johnson, undefeated. What's going on there, Lucho?
Oh, sorry, I'm reading the comments.
Yeah, read a couple of the comments, please. Let's see what people are saying.
Well, Lino Gaji says the Fino Boxing chick, Fino Boxing is a YouTube channel.
Okay.
So the Fino Boxing chick is better than Michelle Joy Phelps. And I'm trying to, is Fino Boxing chick the one that's kind of chubby, like thick there?
I don't know.
she always has like fucking cleavage.
Well, why not? Isn't it interesting though? Isn't it interesting that women, when their best ass, a lot of women's best assets,
they play what they have, right? Their best attributes.
But they show you cleavage, right? Like they show you a bit of the tits. Imagine if guys, we had a big cock and we showed you just a tip of the cock or something. Like we can pull that off. Women can pull that off. We can pull that off.
Yeah,
it's unfair. I want to show my cock off.
El Dude right now be saying this is rape we're talking about over here.
Yes, we're talking. Misogynists or something.
Those guys, they're not real Mexican because they live in Canada. I live in the United States. I live in the United States. But at least it's closer. At least it's closer to Mexico than Canada is. Anyway, and by the way, boxing style, you hit the nail right on the head. Boxing style hit the nail right on the head because I was listening to that show where you guys were talking about El Dude, and I wasn't there, obviously. Boxing style, remember when he showed up on the first show, El Dude? He was high, and Boxing Style said that in that last episode. He said he sounded like he was on speed or crank or something. I mean,
I said speed. Stu said coke.
Yes,
maybe coke too. Coke could be possible, but I've seen what speed does. So
I don't think he can afford coke.
I'll lean towards speed.
First hand experience, right?
No, not experience. I've seen I've seen it with what it does to chicks. I've seen it what it does to some guys that I know, not friends, and it's not pretty.
Hey, BDA in the chat, John Gonzalez says Hopkins got knocked out by Mills Lane.
Yeah, he did. And he almost got. And I was rewatching the second Chad Dawson fight, which, anyway, he was about to go out of the ring in that fight as well. And by the way, I don't know if he jumped out of the ring against Robert Allen, because that's what people say, like, the fight was getting too tough for him, so he decided to jump out of the ring. I definitely think Kermit Cintron, when he took on Paul Williams, you can see him leaping through the ropes. Kermit Cintron, that's a guy that I do think he jumped through the ropes, and which is a shame because he was. Was that
Kermit the Frog?
Kermit the Frog. Hey, that's a good one. That's a good one right there. But but listen, going back to Hopkins, Hawker Mustang says Hopkins is a good actor. Yeah, he did pull off a couple of performances. Remember when he was fighting Joe Calzaghe and Calzaghe hit him low? Okay, he hit you low. Fucking all right. Take your 5 minutes. but then he hit him in the belt line or somewhere, and he goes down, and the ref didn't even call break or anything. He went to call his own break. That fight, the Joe Calzaghe fight, that was the fight where he was trying. Calzaghe was putting it on him. The pace was too much for Hopkins, and he was looking for a way, just like 2 minutes at least or 30 seconds, just to get a rest, because Calzaghe was really pressing him. He wasn't landing much, but he was pressing him, and that was one of the worst. I mean, if it wasn't for the two guys for the it was for the light heavyweight championship of the world, and it was 2 pound for pound guys. If it wasn't for that, if it was 2 tomato cans fighting that way, we would have thrown out. Never wanted to see them fight again. It was that bad a fight.
What do you guys think of Calzaghe being top 10 of all time?
No.
What? What? Who said that? No one ever. No,
I think.
What? All right, no, that's it. You're never coming back here.
All right, I just said it. Come on.
I thought you said like somebody mentioned it. Not.
No. Okay, somebody mentioned it. It wasn't me.
No, now we know it's you.
Yeah, now we know it's you.
I think personally he's top 10. I'm not gonna say.
I'm not gonna say it.
I think he is. In my opinion, I think he's.
That's common knowledge. The guy's retarded. Do you believe this guy?
I didn't say top 5. If you said top 5, you can laugh as much as you want. But
no, you say top 20. I laugh at no.
Come on, bro.
Who did he? Okay, he beat Jeff Lacey. Who? I mean, he wasn't that good, to be honest. Then what came next? Like Hopkins and Roy Jones?
Chris Eubank, Nigel Benn.
Well, Nigel Benn.
That's in the UK. That's all domestic stuff. I mean, we're talking here about world-class level fighters.
Well, hold on. Let's back up. Because when you're judging a fighter's resume, you look at obviously the competition, how he did against the competition, and you look at longevity as well. Now, whether you recognize the WBO championship as a real title or not, the fact was that then. I know, but the fact is, let's look at who Calzaghe beat. He did beat Chris Eubank, even though I think it was a bit of a late replacement, right? And I think Eubank took that fight as a late replacement, like a short notice, I should say. Somebody enlighten me in the chat or here if I'm wrong.
Check the chat.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't a late replacement. No.
It wasn't? Okay. Thanks for clearing that up. He did beat Robin Reed, even though a lot of people thought Robin Reed won. But Robin Reed was still a very good fighter, and Calzaghe beat him. Yeah. I think he beat Omar Shika too, right? Who was a very hard puncher, 168 pounds. He beat Charles Brewer, another tough he was a tough Philadelphian and another power puncher. He beat Lacey, and I know what you guys are going to say. Lacey sucked. Turns out he was a dud. But we didn't know that when they were about to fight. In fact, most people thought Lacey was going to win. And Calzaghe beat the shit out of him. And
did he fight Kessler?
And he beat Kessler, yes. And he beat Hopkins and he beat Roy Jones. Now, here's the problem.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That's a very good win.
The Kessler win, fantastic. But the Hopkins and Roy Jones fight...
that's what I'm saying. I give him top 10. But right. I mean, you can... If it's not 10, at least top 20. At least.
Are you saying of all time, or are you saying of super middleweights of all time?
Oh boy.
Yes.
No, you meant of all time, like out of all
time, all time. I go.
Oh no.
There's much better fighters.
There's been much better. Bro. Come on. What is he then? I want to hear Bucho say. What is he then? Where is he ranked at for you?
I don't know, but he's far away from like 25 or not. He's very far. I mean, come on, we'll make a list at some point, all these whole boxes. We'll get some of these boxing historians. But by the way, Corruption, wanted to say something?
Briefly, you guys were talking about Andre Ward before, but if you analyze his career, every single one of his signature victories was against a fighter who had previously been defeated. Mikhail Kessler, beaten already by Joe Calzaghe. Carl Froch, he was already beaten in the tournament by Kessler.
Abraham.
If you look at Sakio Bika, he was knocked out by that Romanian Canadian guy. What's his name?
Bute.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it already stopped him. Arthur Abrahams, already beaten before by Carl Froch in the tournament. So, Chad Dawson, he was already beaten by Jean Pascal, I think, before Andre Ward defeated him. So pretty much everybody had already been defeated. So, is there any real signature undefeated killer victories there. Nah, not in my opinion.
I think, listen, Andrew Ward's win over Carl Froch. Yes, Carl Froch lost to Kessler. I actually thought Froch beat Kessler in that first fight. And I thought Ward's win over Froch was fantastic. I thought it was a sensational performance. He wasn't as dirty as he in other fights. And I thought that's his best win. And I don't fault Froch for having an L going into that fight.
You don't believe Kovalev win was the best win? You don't believe the Kovalev win was the best win?
Well, come on, I mean, I don't want to go there. You know where that's gonna lead. But listen, he did get the L. I mean, he did get the W in the first fight against Kovalev, and I thought Kovalev won that fight because he was landing more jabs and more right hands. And I think that's what
Kovalev had already been beaten up by Darnell Boone. There's no dispute that one. He was floored twice in that fight. Kovalev was the new HBO entity. So HBO definitely wanted to protect him. So they've removed the archives of that fight to protect him. So they gave Darnell Boone a draw. All right, he got his revenge the second time. But the first time, he got his ass kicked.
Wait a minute. Wasn't he undefeated before he...
Oh, boy.
He shouldn't have been. He got beaten up by Boone.
In the chat, Mel Gibson says Ward's best win was against Dan Goosen. That was a low blow.
Hold on, let's go back to the Joe Calzaghe thing. Boxing style. Would it be fair to say that you said you got into boxing because of Triple G, which means you weren't paying attention that much to boxing prior to that? So
no, Joe Calzaghe is, of course. Started paying attention more Joe Calzaghe after I started watching a little more Thunderdome boxing. He talked about him. He's a fan of him. I looked at it. I was pretty impressed. I said, yeah, I mean, you have to give this guy that credit. You have to give him at least top 20 if you're not going to give him top 10. You got to be one of the best super middleweights of all time.
Okay, yeah, that I agree.
Yeah, if you put him with one of the best super middleweights of all time, then he's got to be one of the best of all time. He has.
But it's interesting, the Lacey fight. That's the one that, like, how do you judge?
If it's not 10,
how far does the super middleweight division go? 1980 something?
Yeah, 1980. Well, actually, it's a good question. We'll look it up later. But
it's not like he's been in a glamorous division as well, right? There's not. I mean, how many great fighters have come out of the super middleweight division?
And here's the thing: he never fought Sven Otke, who was the other undefeated guy in the division. Then again, Sven Otke, clearly Sven Otke was inferior to Joe Calzaghe, but that doesn't matter. They should have fought, and Calzaghe never fought him. Then again, he did fight.
I think he should have gone to Germany and fight over there. That's freaking hard to get a decision over there.
Oh yeah, fucking Sven Otke was the worst.
He was like Marcus Bayer, I think, was there at the time, was he?
Yeah, you couldn't get a decision back then in Germany.
Yeah, that was a hard. I mean, no, come on. I don't know. He stayed in the UK for a long time. So
I think Corruption wanted to say something.
No, I didn't know.
Okay, but I just wanted to say about Calzaghe. Because I remember when Hopkins lost to Calzaghe, it was the first time in a while where I said, okay, Hopkins, he didn't look good. He looked old in that fight. Even when he fought Taylor and he lost officially, a lot of people still thought Hopkins won that fight. The Joe Calzaghe fight, he looked old in the last 3 rounds, tired, couldn't keep up with Calzaghe. But then Chad Dawson beat Hopkins, and it turns out that he was a bit of a dud too, because Chad Dawson, all he did was beat old fighters. He beat Glenn Johnson, he beat Tarver, and he beat Hopkins. All of those guys have a combined age of 1,000 years old, right? So how much and every time he stepped up to fight somebody young, Chad Dawson, he lost. He lost to Pascal and he lost to Andre Ward. Calzaghe, at least, yeah, he beat an old Roy Jones and Hopkins. But remember, Calzaghe was 37 at that time, so he was no spring chicken either. And he did beat a younger.
Even a young Roy Jones Jr. he would have whooped based off how he fights.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that. It would have been a closer fight, not an obvious victory, but he would have still beaten him.
You're talking.
Media, you actually make a great point there, and it goes into the Chad Dawson and Andre Ward fight, because because of the level of criticism that was around Chad Dawson, beating up old people. There's a strong argument, and there's a little bit of emails floating around, some sort of communication, that it was Chad Dawson's decision to go down in weight and fight Andre Ward. It wasn't Andre Ward who drained him. It was Dawson primarily to get respect within the sport, because of the criticism before that he had just been beating up old fighters. So,
Well, yeah, I mean, so what you're trying to say is that, break it down for me again.
So we can.
Oh, people are.
There are people claim that it was Andre Ward who told Dawson to come down in weight.
No, yeah, exactly, Butcher. No, but it appears from some guys I've been speaking with, looking at some evidence around, just some communication, news reports, etc. Some quotes that Chad Dawson made to one newspaper in particular. It appears that it was his own decision to go down in. He was the one who initiated the fight and chose 168.
Yeah, it was. I remember reading that or hearing that up in the lead up to the fight, which is why I don't fault Andre Ward. I actually think that's one of his best wins. See, we were talking about the Froch fight. I actually think that's.
Did he look weak though?
What?
Did Chad Dawson look different? Kind of weird. His body.
Not really.
Did he look weak?
No, I don't think so. No? Not to my eyes.
He looked the same. Okay.
Well, listen, Jean-Pascal made it
badly in sparring. Remember, BDA, you got absolutely clocked in sparring badly before the fight.
Oh yeah, that was the rumor was that what's his name, Colombian guy, or he was Venezuelan Colombian. What's his name? Miranda. It was Miranda iced him in sparring apparently, but I mean, I don't know. Listen, I give Andre Ward credit for that win, and you guys know that I dislike Andre Ward, so I have all the reason in the world to take away that credit away from him. But going back to the fucking Joe Calzaghe fight. And oh yeah, okay. Boxing Style said that he thinks Roy Jones Jr. loses to Calzaghe. Boxing Style, rewatch some of Roy Jones's prime years, man. That guy was
I've seen him, bro. But it's not like Calzaghe does not have speed himself. He has plenty of speed, especially with those slap punches that he was throwing. Those slap punches had power behind them. It's not like he was just throwing them. And it would have been an interesting fight, but I would have favored Calzaghe by a round or two to beat him.
But
he was playing a lot more mind games than Roy can stand. He couldn't stand it when he was at that age. He was putting his head between his guard, bro. It was ridiculous. I don't care how fucking great you were. You should do something about that at that moment, bro. That was embarrassing. He embarrassed Roy Jones Jr. He embarrassed him, bro.
I have two comments here. John Gonzalez in the chat says, I don't know about Roy Jones. I don't know about that. Roy Jones Jr. has always had a weak chin. No one was ever fast enough to catch him. And then the Shepherd's Son says, even Emmanuel Stewart said he didn't know who would win between Prime Roy Jones and Joe Calzaghe.
Manny Stewart must have said that in between sniffing coke, because I don't believe for a second. I'm kidding. God, no disrespect to a guy that passed away, but listen, if Emmanuel Stewart said that, you gotta give it some credence. But here's the thing: fucking Calzaghe was struggling against Robin Reed, and what's his name, Brian Mitchell, almost had him out cold, almost. Roy Jones beat James Toney. Prime James Toney. And now James Toney and other fans can say that, oh, he had to lose 30 pounds prior to the fight. He wasn't ready. Maybe. But Roy Jones schooled him like nobody else had schooled him before. Or
yeah, but that's a juiced up Roy Jones moving up to weight division, bro.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I juiced up Roy Jones against Calzaghe at 168. Who do you have in that one?
Michael Nunn was schooling him though, BDA. He was schooling James Toney before Toney
That's true.
him out.
That's true. That's a good point. He was winning all the rounds.
But Muslim says Joe Calzaghe had hand problems.
He did. Early on in his career, he was more of a puncher, and then he became more of a slapper. But like Boxing Style said, those slaps were fucking hard because he threw them. He threw a lot of them. Listen, Joe Calzaghe was a fantastic fighter. I just don't think he's top 10 of all time. And I do think that some of his wins can be questionable. Whereas with Roy Jones, yeah, he was using that nasal spray quite heavily, if you know what I mean. But he was just a phenomenal, way too fast. His reflex way too good.
Give him top 20.
Not for nothing.
No, we convinced him.
I rephrased my statement.
We presented good arguments.
Top 20. Top 20. Give him top 20.
Making progress. We're making progress. Corruption, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, but I mean, Roy Jones never left the United States for any.
That's true.
So what?
True.
So what? Let him stay.
No, we have to be fair because I said that about Calzaghe. Although Calzaghe did leave the US, but
you said
US,
that.
But he was leaving his career.
You said that. You said that. I said
that. So I have to say something about Roy Jones.
All right, so you have to apply it to Roy Jones. I don't apply it. If Roy Jones wants to stay in the good old USA, the home of hamburgers, baseball, and apple pie.
Mikulszewski.
All right, now that's the point that everybody brings up. Fucking Michalowski, and we talked about Michalowski, whatever you want to say. We talked about that in the show. I think a couple of months ago came up, and some people think that Michalowski. And by the way, there's that old argument about whether Michalowski remained the linear champion even after Roy Jones unified, because he's never
cutting off on the Hangouts. You're probably fine on YouTube though.
Oh, I am fine on. By the way, Azzy in the chat says BDA as a Roy Jones groupie. Well, you're a Mayweather groupie, so I guess we're all on the same immigrant caravan here. But listen, the point is this. the point is this. Roy Jones was a fantastic fighter, and people overlook his IQ, his ring IQ. It wasn't all just talent. He was able to mix it with his ring IQ, and I think that's one of the reasons why he was fucking near untouchable. Then again, I will admit, because I have to, he avoided a lot of the top super middleweights when he was there. A lot of them Europeans from England. So
how about Calzaghe? Did he avoid anybody?
He's always denied it. He's saying that Roy Jones never won it. That fight, difficult to say. We don't, we're not really party to the negotiations. But if you look at Nigel Benn now, he won his title, if I remember, in Atlantic City when he beat was it Doug DeWitt? Shit, man, I can't remember. I mean, when you smoke as much ganja as me, your memory.
When you smoke, oh man. Okay, what were you saying? If you can remember.
No, I can't remember, man.
Oh,
I've got
boy.
brain damage, but I can just about manage.
Take a few minutes to meditate. Come back home.
Yeah, take a deep breath and
Do
come
a
back to
Cheech and
this
Chong
one.
thing.
Don't have a bad trip on that fucking ganja.
On the Hangouts.
Yeah. Could you imagine having a bad trip on
But
the Hangouts?
anyways, listen, Calzaghe is not top 20. Come on, man.
I will say this though. Can I say something about this, Roy Jones? Because again, to be fair here, Roy Jones. One of the things I do take points away from him is that he never rematched Hopkins when Hopkins was in his prime. He never rematched James Stoney. He never took on Calzaghe, and he never took on Michalowski. So there you go.
What about him moving to heavyweight and fighting John Ruiz? And I know John Ruiz.
Well, let me ask you. I'll ask you that question. Where do you rank that John Ruiz performance?
James Stoney would be his best performance, and maybe under that.
Mm-hmm.
Second best thing he ever did.
Yeah.
Second best thing.
I mean, what the Hopkins win? But Hopkins, I don't know. He was.
He had a good win over Mike McCallum, who was a fantastic fighter, but that was a veteran McCallum.
Mm-hmm.
Put him down as well, and McCallum had only been floored 2 times in his entire career, if I remember.
Yeah,
He had
that's true.
Hell of a chin.
But like you said, it was an old, fat McCallum.
Yeah.
Old, fat, and not very attractive either. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but here's the thing also.
Remember when he fought the Julio Gonzalez on pay-per-view?
No. I was rewatching that fight a couple of weeks ago.
That was a pay-per-view. Can't believe that. Anyways.
Actually, Bucho, it was a pretty good pay-per-view, man. You had Mayorga against Andrew Sixhead Lewis. You had Morales against Injin Chi. And I think it was a pretty good card. I mean, good undercard.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the main event was garbage. I mean, it was a sparring match, remember?
Oh yeah, that's the
That's what
thing.
Larry Merchant told Julio Gonzalez. It looked like a sparring match, and then Julio Gonzalez got all insulted. I didn't see anybody wearing headgear, and
Oh really? I don't remember that part.
yeah, 16-ounce gloves or something. It's like, oh man,
boy.
yeah.
Yeah, it's one.
BDA, who's fighting this weekend then? I haven't looked at the schedule.
Who's fighting this weekend? We got Prograis taking on Terry Flannagan for the 140-pound as part of the 140-pound tournament. We also have Baranchik taking on Yigit on the other bracket.
Fantastic.
And there's Derevianchenko Jacobs.
Of
That's
course,
right.
of course.
And,
HBO.
and
Yep.
Huey Fury taking on Pulev.
Oh my god, yeah, that's gonna be boring.
But it's a full weekend of boxing, man. Full weekend of boxing.
Baranchik is the one, you know, that guy is one exciting fighter to watch. That's
Wait a minute. HBO's still doing Derevianchenko and Jacobs?
Yeah, it's the last show.
It's
but
the last
there
one.
might be another one. I don't know, but yeah, it's like.
Yeah, there's even one in December.
And then they go like,
But that's
psych.
not official, though. That's not official, is it?
Oh, okay.
And then they go like, psych. We lied. We're back.
No, I hope not. I really want him to go away. It's enough. HBO.
I'm tired of Max Kellerman, man. That's why.
Yeah, I know. The zone is where to go now. The zone, man.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. I'm reading the chat room here. Poe Johnson says, "Come on, BDA, screen share my request." What request? I'm not seeing.
He sent you a message?
No, I'm not seeing a message on Hangouts.
Maybe on YouTube or Facebook.
No.
Yeah, well, he'll tell us in the chat what exactly he means. But
Hey, Hawker Mustang said Roy Jones looked great beating bums.
well, he did fight a fucking.
Roy Jones had an Amir Khanchin. I don't think he had an Amir Khanchin, but he did fight a lot of bums in early 2000s. The early 2000s, Clinton Woods, and who else was there? Like,
well, Clinton Woods was a
he
bum.
put his hands behind his back and knocked out this guy, correctional officer or something. Come on.
Yeah, he did fight a correctional, and that's when the joke came out that he was fighting sanitation workers and firemen. Which of course he fight. I mean, that's what happens in boxing.
That's what happens when you give a guy a contract like that. That's why people are scared about this contract that Canelo got, because then they can fight whoever they want. But I don't think that's gonna happen.
It's funny how that guy wanted to fight Mike Tyson.
Oh yeah.
Who, Roy?
He even wanted to fight Lennox Lewis. Roy Jones wanted to fight Lennox Lewis.
He wanted to die. That's what he wanted.
No. Wait, Bucho. That was all talk from. He didn't want to fucking fight Michalowski in Germany. You think he was gonna fucking fight Lennox Lewis? Come on, that was never gonna happen. It was all talk from Roy Jones.
Lennox Lewis would spit and he will probably fall, bro.
Yeah.
No, Lennox was too.
I know I'm joking, but you get the point.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Listen, you can only be so skilled, but when you're fighting a guy that's 6'5", 250 pounds, sorry, doesn't matter how skilled you are. If you're 5'11" and weigh 200 pounds, you're gonna get. Okay, what the fuck is this?
What?
Okay, so Bo Johnson told me to watch the Shelly Vincent versus Hardy face-off, which is one of the fights on HBO. They're putting on women's box. Was that?
It's a rematch. I think they had a fight before.
Why is one of the women who I don't know who's who? Why is one of the women facing off against that? Is that a woman who's facing off against?
What?
What is this? Heather Hardy, I'm gonna assume it's the white girl, versus Shelly Vincent. And why is she facing off against?
She's just like a dyke now.
You kidding me? He's got a beard. Is that a fake beard?
Yeah, but it's a fake beard, man. Come on.
What the fuck is this? Yeah, it's a girl. Obviously, you can tell. What is this? Is this like future boxing, SJW boxing?
That's polymorph magic, bro.
The transformation. The transformation is complete. Oh goddamn, that was a good one. That's gonna be your intro, man. Oh, but it doesn't work without the. It doesn't work without the.
That's a good way to end your boxing, huh?
My God, I laughed so hard, even the fucking computer froze here. My God. What the fuck?
Talk about ending it with a bang, man. Like,
I'm still laughing.
All right, listen.
The first fight was quite entertaining, so this one should be decent as well.
I don't know, man. I mean, my goodness. Okay, you want to be a lesbian? Fine. You don't need the fucking fake beard. All right, honey? Just grab your dildo.
And the chick is Conor McGregor, bro. The other one. Problematic Conor McGregor right there.
It's a parallel universe. It's the SJW parallel universe. That's what it is, man.
Is this face off live at the moment? Are you watching it? A clip that's been said?
No, we showed a photo. We put a photo.
Oh, like a picture, yeah.
Yeah, of the face off, and it's let's just say you might as well go to the circus to see what's going on in that fucking face off. Let's just put it that way.
I bet somebody's gonna jerk off to that.
Well, I'm doing it right now, baby. Listen. Yeah, hell of a way to finish the HBO telecast. You got Machado, you got Jacobs and Derevianchenko, and then you have that fight.
Machado could be in trouble.
Intersection.
He's fighting a guy called Evans who lost against Javier Fortuna early on, but don't sleep on this guy. There could be a potential shock there, I think.
Huh. I'm not familiar with the guy Machado's facing, so now that you say that, you got me intrigued.
Yeah, I think his name is Yondell Evans. He's a bit of a sleeper. This guy can punch and he can box as well.
Mm-hmm.
He got knocked out. He got caught cold against Fortuna, a number of years ago. But since then, he's been on a little run, very much under the radar. Got his opportunity now, and Machado is good. He's got a bit of power. He can knock out people with, but he doesn't really have that killer instinct to finish people off. Very one-paced as well. I can see a lot of deficiencies, and I can see a potential upset here. So I'm going with Machado. Sorry, I'm going with Evans, and I hope Derevianchenko knocks out Jacobs, but I can't see that happening. They're not going to give Sergey a decision on a DAZN, on a HBO DAZN.
Well, let me ask you this, Corruption. Let me ask you this:
Yeah.
Will you be placing a large sum of money on this upset?
Already done.
Really?
Yeah, I'm my friend, so that's already done.
Oh my goodness!
Hey, any other inside information you would like to share, Corruption? And
for which fight?
To all the bettors out there now, here's something I've learned from over the years, Nate. I mean, I'm no expert, but accumulators, stay away from them, because in the long run you'll end up losing money, because the chances of an accumulator, say if you've got like 6 or 7 or even possibly 8-fold in an accumulator, very difficult when you're spread betting. Say if you're picking a particular fight by knockout, points, decision, even if you try and risk it by picking a round, overall you're going to end up losing money, even though you can win so much. The spread is quite wide. If the odds are very good on 5 or 6 upsets, you can place $50, €50, and possibly win $900, $1,000 euros. So you've got good possibility, but overall you will lose money. My strategy now is bet a higher amount on a surefire winner, and you'll end up winning a lot more money.
Corruption. What do you mean by accumulator? Is it like the rounds and shit? Is that what you're saying by accumulator?
Accumulator, more than one bet in. Say basically, you say there's 6 fights here, Style, this weekend.
Yeah.
You're picking a winner in each fight, and then you're multiplying the whole lot. So your stake and your winnings is correlated. Every result has to be right for you to win.
Oh, I see. So every one of them has to be right for you to win.
Yeah.
But how much you usually put for that one?
I €1,000 minimum.
Whoa.
1,000.
Big spender, man.
Baller, shot caller.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I bet corruption in boxing goes shanking people if they don't give him his money. But now,
I mean, the next.
Exactly, man. I'm like Joe Pesci in Casino. I'm shaking down.
Hey, corruption. Would you bet on value against Usyk in like maybe a stoppage in a certain amount of rounds or decision or?
Good question, Butcher. If you're looking, if you're placing money on Usyk, who is the favorite,
yeah,
you're gonna have to put about. I worked it out probably about to make even a. Whoa, he is such a big favorite. You're gonna have to spread bet and say either a stoppage in what round or whether it's going to be points. Chances are he's going to outbox him for 12. So
I don't even think you get anything if you put on points, though, because it's a guarantee. The
money's on Bellew. I've put a little outside bet on Bellew. You know, it's the UK. You know, he could knock him out. You never know, but highly unlikely. But it's worth it.
Go put decision on that shit. I'll put decision on that one.
Yeah, but you don't make any money. Like you gotta take a risk here. Like,
well, can you pick a ghost decision? But can you pick a ghost decision? But
ghost.
Yeah.
Neither side, just a ghost decision.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you don't get anything in return, probably.
What do you mean? You should get something for that. I mean,
go check Bet365. That's where I go, and I check.
I go to Bovada. So that's my shit.
Hey, corruption.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
If you go to I tend not to use retail bookies. I go to more sports, sports books and sort of spread betting where you can bet on, how many knockdowns will occur. So you can really, really, really get into the intrinsics of fights. Say how many body shots you can go on, who's going to land the more punches, accuracy. You can really spread into so many different statistics. So it's pretty fucking crazy when you look at the sort of gambling portfolios that are out there.
Can you see a Usyk stoppage at some point
against Bellew? Stoppage. Bellew's coming back down in weight. The fat bastard. Stoppage.
I like to take those between 3 rounds between 6 and 8 and 7. Sorry, 9. Those type of options.
I see no stoppages in all of this fight.
Maybe in the end, maybe he gets tired and shit. So
they both got decent. They both got decent chins. I don't see no stoppages.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, Usyk he's gonna play it safe probably.
Depends how hard Bellew can hit him. I mean, if Bellew can...
go ahead.
I'm just saying, if Bellew can't get the respect, then it's going to probably go to a decision. I mean, to a stoppage.
You can also bet on if there's a knockdown, either side.
Yeah.
One fight I'm going to bet on? It's an MMA fight. It's not boxing. It's Khabib, Tony Ferguson.
That's not going to happen because... it's Mayweather against Khabib now, so.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Mayweather against Khabib? Nah, that's gonna take a while for that.
Nah, what a while. What the hell are you talking about? It's easy to make. It's a lot of money. They're gonna make it.
The reason why I don't think that fight's gonna happen, I thought Conor was gonna happen, but Khabib's not gonna happen is because Vegas was. I mean, there's people are gonna bet on Mayweather, bro. There's no way that I could see Khabib knocking. He's not a knockout puncher, so I don't see him.
No, he has no chance, but the fight's still gonna happen because he's gonna generate a lot of money. So,
dude, you know how much money Vegas will lose, though? It's insanity. They'll milk the shit out of Vegas.
That old Khabib melee at the end of the fight, that was 100% staged.
You think so?
You think so?
Absolutely. I straight away, BD. I mean, even during the fight, I said to somebody I was watching it with, "There's going to be a fight at the end. I bet you." And that's exactly what happened.
People are cutting off. It's the fucking
Shit
Hangouts.
wasn't staged, bro.
Hold on. Let corruption.
Just look at the UFC and their profits for the last sort of 2-4 years. As a lot of their stars have either retired, moved on, whatever. It's been dwindling down.
Yes.
Look at how much they've been paying fighters. It's they hit rock bottom virtually. That they were crying out for a star. Now they putting the seeds for a rematch, and that was always their strategy from the outset. I think they pretty much knew Conor was going to get his ass kicked.
He's in his ass kicked.
Years away, whatever.
Okay, but why did he give him a new contract though? 6-fight contract, I believe.
Look at the amount of money. Look at the amount of money it generated, Butcher.
That's
true. All due to Conor, man. So,
dude, that hate. Look, I'm gonna tell you guys. I didn't get the chance to say anything about this last time. I was gonna butcher Stu on this last time, but we never got the chance to. I felt sorry. I'm a kind person, I guess. Some part of me.
Spit it out.
The fight with Khabib and McGregor, that guy took it way too personal. I'm not a Muslim or anything like that. I like Conor, but that motherfucker took it way too personal. He's never taken it that personal with Aldo. He's never taken it that personal with anyone else. He took it way too personal. He insulted his father. He insulted his religion, his nationality. He went way too far.
Well, maybe he knew he was a real threat, though.
Yeah, no. The thing is, anything you say to Khabib, it's not gonna work. So I'm pretty sure he wanted to say that anyhow. He got a little bit of racism in him. It's all good. Everybody has a little bit of racism in him. So he said all that shit. I got nothing against that, man. You say whatever you want to say. Be who you are. I like people that say that who they are and pretend to be someone else. And he said whatever he had to say, and then he paid his due. He paid the punishment for it.
All right, another
shit out of him. That was plain fucking simple. That he just hated him after all the shit that he said. I mean, it's like he has an Armenian personality. I didn't mention this. Like, if you insult your mother and father or some shit like that to a personal level, especially in the public level, they're gonna take it to a whole different stratosphere. It's like they're gonna either beat the shit out of you or kill you. It's one of those things.
Yeah. Hey, corruption. Do you think that the whole incident with McGregor and attacking that boss was also staged?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
The bus, I say, yeah, it's staged. But the fight.
So you think that? Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, because Conor. I mean, come on, bro. 30 people. Dana White knew it. It was the day before the fight, his fight, Khabib's fight. They staged that shit.
Didn't he injure some fighters though?
He did. I think he went overboard. What happened was he was probably supposed to go over there and threaten him. The motherfucker's on coke. For sure he's on coke. I could tell. Yeah. That motherfucker's on coke. He had the jitters before the fight with Khabib.
I didn't think about that, but now that it's true, because Corruption mentioning how the UFC has been struggling lately, and they're losing a lot of their stars. John Jones, GSP. There was other. Yeah, Cain Velasquez never worked out. They wanted to get some Mexican market with this guy, and that didn't work out. So yeah, they're kind of struggling. Now you see Brock Lesnar coming back, trying to save or trying to bring another create another star again. But
I don't say, Bucho, that they're struggling, because they still got DC, they still got McGregor. Now they have Khabib, another superstar. They have Tony Ferguson. They got a bunch of guys. John Jones is coming back.
Isn't Cormier fighting Lesnar?
Yeah. He's not. No, he's fighting that Derek Lewis fat guy.
Oh, okay.
They have problems with his nuts and shit. Gets hot and everything. Remember that shit?
Yeah. That guy, yeah.
Oh, was that the guy with that knockout in the last round?
Yeah, that ridiculous, slow-ass, fucking boring fight, bro. So fucking boring, bro. I was like, when is this fight gonna end, bro? Like, when is it? And then I had a feeling this fool's gonna catch him. He's gonna catch him.
I feel like the UFC is not at the same height as it was a few years ago.
No, it still is. It's pretty good. The talent level is pretty high up. It's just that fight was so fucking ridiculous. It was so boring. The fight before that, or was it after that? I don't know. In the light heavyweight division, where it was Saint Pierre and some guy, I forgot that he's very talented. I forgot his name. Extremely talented. If he fixes conditioning, that guy is a fucking threat in the light heavyweight division. He knows how to stand up pretty good. His ground game is great. He knocked St. Pierre out in the last fucking minute, and they didn't count it, but he knocked him out technically. That was a fucking good fight, but it was kind of slow until it hit Tony Ferguson and Anthony Pettis. It was boring, and Anthony Pettis and Tony Ferguson was the shit. I enjoyed watching that. That was fucking entertaining as fuck. It's just Anthony Pettis is just he gives up. That's the problem.
All right, so you're going for the upset right there. Then just brought in Cameron real quick because we are about to go. Cameron, are you there?
Yo, what's going on?
Not much, man. Just we're about to leave. Boxing Style is saying he's gonna pick Ferguson over Khabib.
No, I didn't. I didn't say that.
Oh, didn't you say that?
Oh,
you said you were
that
gonna.
shit, bro.
You said you were gonna.
I said I'm gonna pick Khabib for that fight, and if that fight happens, I'm putting 1,000 on Khabib.
But he's not gonna be the underdog, so what's the point of placing?
No, see,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'll pick.
Yes, it does.
So you don't even know how much you're gonna be making.
No, I tell you this much. It's gonna be something like this. It's gonna be like a negative 100 to 200 for Khabib, and probably positive 100 to 200 for Tony Ferguson. That's why I'm gonna bet on it because the odds are not that bad.
Somebody's grinding up Armenian spices in the background there.
It's food.
Armenian spices. Is that what you eat? Just a bunch of spices and rice, or?
No, man. Our diet is a lot of kebab. If you know what I mean.
Oh, okay, yeah. I see.
So I'm gonna bounce, man.
Yeah, we were just about to leave. Cameron, just wanted to give you an invite there, but yeah, we were about to leave. All right, let's get people's picks real quick for the.
I'm gonna write them down.
Yeah, please. Actually, Corruption in Boxing just left, but
yeah.
Shout out to Corruption. Thanks for being on.
I start with Cameron. Derevianchenko, Jacobs.
Jacobs on points.
Jacobs on points. Okay. Boxing Style. How about you? Oh, okay. Official scorecard boxing. Go ahead.
No. Let him go ahead, but because I'm not sure.
Somebody's having doubts. All right. Boxing Style. Go ahead.
Boxing Style. Go ahead.
Jacobs by KO. Maybe KO, but maybe I'm not kind of risking it. A decision sounds better, but I'll go for a KO. Maybe like 9 to 8. No, I'll go 9.
9. That's it. Okay.
All right. 9.
Who's next?
Okay.
Me? I can do it.
What?
No, I don't know.
Official. Did you?
Shit.
Did official boxing scorecard make up his mind or?
No.
Official? No. Okay, I think.
Yeah. Oh no! Oh, it's too difficult. It's too close of a fight. That's why it's so good. Well, come on. Let's say Derevianchenko 8 or 9 by KO. But if not, he's losing on points. If not,
so
he's going.
Derevianchenko KO 9.
8 or 9, something like that. Let's say 9.
9. Okay. I was gonna say kind of the same thing. Now I don't know, man. Shit.
Somebody's having a panic attack.
Yeah, fuck it.
Flip a coin. Flip a coin. Just flip a coin on it.
No. I'm gonna go with Derevianchenko stoppage 8.
Ooh. Derevianchenko stoppage.
The right hand. I'm telling you, something weird is gonna happen, man. Jacob's going down for sure, knockdown at least. But I have to go for Derevianchenko KO.
The thing is, what's his name? Derevianchenko ain't Pirog, and on top of that, Jacobs is better than when he fought Pirog. So
I'll just go on. I'm just going on the fact that Derevianchenko's best win is Tyrion Johnson, and this huge gulp in class and jumps. Like for me, I'm going on Jacobs on points simply because of the fact that Derevianchenko's so unproven and his chin hasn't been really tested yet. So I'm just going by the safe bet.
Yeah.
That's
and he's going to be coming forward.
Reminds me of when Luis Arias fought Jacobs. Huge jump in class, too much too soon. Couldn't keep up with him. But then again, Derevianchenko, he looks like a machine in there. I mean, I don't know. My prediction, taking the safe pick. I'm going with Daniel Jacobs by decision. I'm not gonna predict any shenanigans, any knockouts, any stoppages. I'll say Jacobs by decision. I think his defense might just be too much for Derevianchenko to figure out. But then again, I could be wrong. Maybe Derevianchenko is better than we give him credit for.
Okay, I'm gonna change my Jacobs decision. That's it. I'm gonna play it safe. I'm gonna play it safe because lately I've been going crazy, and then it's gonna look bad on me because
there's just too many. There's just too many unanswered questions on Derevianchenko. Like he's jumped from 200 Johnson. He's not for a top 15 guy. He's just jumped from 200 Johnson, and the last guy he fought was
Charlie.
22 losses, and so for me, I just feel like, you know, there's too many unanswered questions on Derevianchenko. Like, you know, he looks good, right? Like his potential, you know, he's a guy that has been touted, but because there's just so many unanswered questions, I'm thinking I just don't want to predict anything without any facts on beyond Derevianchenko right now. So
Derevianchenko's been hit by lesser opponents, clean shots. That's another thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's not like he's a Lomachenko there. Yeah, he does get hit. You know, it's.
If he gets if he's untouchable, then I'll probably go with that. But he is touchable.
It's like he's fighting. Like, it reminds me of Gvozdzik because he gets hit a lot. He reminds me more of Gvozdzik. Like, a lot of people seem to compare these Ukrainians and that to Lomachenko. He's more like Gvozdzik to me.
Mm.
Yeah,
and he hasn't even been fighting top of opposition like Cameron said. So if he's getting tagged by them, he's gonna get tagged by Jacobs, and Jacobs has tons of power that Derevianchenko has never seen. So who knows?
Who has bigger punch? I mean, arguably Lemieux, but if you take kind of Golovkin out and Canelo's moved up, who has bigger punch than Jacobs at 160? One punch. I mean, Lemieux arguably, you have to say.
Charlo.
That's not proven though, right? Like,
no, Charlo does. I think Charlo does have power.
Yeah, but I'm going by proven facts. Proven facts, right? Jacobs, who has hits?
I'll tell you this much. Santino went 10 rounds with Sulecki, and Santino got knocked the fuck out by Charlo in 2 rounds.
Santino.
So, yeah, Santino and Sulecki went 12 rounds with Jacobs. So that's like
Santana. You mean?
Santana, I call him.
I was saying, when did he fight?
What do you guys think about the fact that they are from the same team and that Rozier is going to be in Jacob's corner, and how important it would be in this match? Because I've never seen that, at least I cannot remember in boxing, guys who are at the same stable fighting each other and that have the same trainer, and how important it would be.
Well, they know each other, that's the thing though. But it can go either way, right? They both know each other, so
I just hope to God that the winner of this fight fights Andrade, because that's what I want to see. I want to see that unification. I want to see Andrade fight the winner of this fight. Obviously Hearn's got Jacobs, he's got Andrade. Pending obviously, you know, the person I pick and wins this fight, I hope Jacobs and Andrade unify.
Canelo in May, that's the fight. The winner of this fights Canelo.
I'd rather see the Andrade fight than see the Canelo fight, you know, the winner of the unification with, you know, Andrade, Jacobs, Derevianchenko. I'd rather see Canelo kind of... I think Canelo's going to stay at 168. I think he is going to stay at 168. I think he is. I mean, he's going to make it his new home because, I don't know, man, I just feel like... I guess it depends on how he feels against Rocky Fielding, but though Cam Smith's called him out, and I can see Canelo staying up there for a bit.
It's actually worse if he stays at 168.
Yeah, he's too short, man. Fielding is not.
There's a lot of guys at 168 that gives him. If he fights competitors that is not bums, that could give him a lot of trouble.
There's guys at 160 that can give him a lot of trouble as well.
Yeah, same, but I think less trouble than the 168s. Because they're big.
I think the money's at 160 anyways.
Yeah, money is at 160 though.
No doubt about it.
So, I don't know.
All right, listen, we have to go. Unfortunately,
can I say this? I think this is the reason why he's fighting Rocky Fielding. It's because Rocky Fielding is a tall dude, and I think same thing with Charlo, right? Charlo, Danny Jacobs, and all these guys, right?
No.
So I think he's trying to like get the hang of fighting a tall dude. That Rocky Fielding got power in his punches too. To to get the feel of how it's gonna feel like to fight.
He's a weak belt holder. He's a weak belt. He's a weak belt holder, and he's trying to become a 3-division champ. That's pretty much it.
Basically, what Bucho just said is, I don't think it's got anything to do with what Boxing Style said, man. I just think it's the fact that Fielding's got a belt at a higher weight class. He's seen as a very weak champion, and it's just a chance for Canelo to get a third belt. That is literally it.
Well, Bucho just said that, and then he immediately, left. I mean, that's what
I was going to say.
Oh, that's where he is. He's back. I thought he was just doing a drive. I think he was just doing it.
Basically, what Bucho said is right.
Yeah. Now listen, we only have time to make predictions for the second most important fight of the night. So let's go with Hardy against that girl with the beard. Who do you guys?
Prograis versus Flannagan now.
I'm kidding. Oh no, I'm kidding. I was kidding about that. Listen, we don't have time.
I was like, no, man. What are you on about? Like, I put out a little joke on Twitter about that today. Actually, it's quite funny.
I heard Canelo's gonna fight the winner of that fight. It's gonna be his second DAZN deal. All right, guys, listen. Thank you for being on. We do have to go. Cameron, unfortunately, you came in on the tail end.
I just want to give a quick plug. Right, I interviewed Lewis Neary tonight. Expect that interview coming out tomorrow or Friday on Twitter.
Wait, did you do it? Did you do it via translator?
Yeah, I actually had it on a phone call and I had someone translate it for me. So yeah, no, it's interesting. It was a good chat. I like Lewis Neary. Good fighter.
Did you ask him about his indiscretions? I
asked him quite a bit. I asked him about the whole WBC situation and blah blah blah. He actually told me, I'll give you a little exclusive. He told me that he's actually planning on moving down to super flyweight next year.
What? So. Huh. Well, there you go. We'll keep an eye out for that one. Anyway, again, thanks guys for being on. I want to thank Official Scorecard Boxing. I want to thank Cameron. I want to thank Boxing Style, and I want to thank Stu, who was here as well. I want to thank Battle Rifle was here as well earlier on. Corruption in Boxing. Geez, who else did I miss? Normally it's Bucho who reminds me of who was here, but I think I got them all. I think I got everybody that was here. Thanks again, guys, for being on. Don't forget to check out Bucho's video about Derevianchenko versus Jacobs, which he posted over at BDA Live. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. And I guess that's about it. In terms of announcements. Was that?
See you guys. I said, all right, man. See you guys.
All right, man.
Peace.
Take it easy.
Yeah.
Thanks again for being on. Now let me just give a bit of a shout out to everybody that was in the chat room listening to this fine program. I mean, if I can just find the chat room here. We had some technical difficulties. We got through them. That's what we do here at the Boxing Debate Arena. I want to give a shout out to Jesus, Steven Schneider. Again, thanks for the contribution, Steven. Always appreciated. Siri Lowe, Hawker Mustang, The Punisher, The Quags, Nino Gadji, John Gonzalez, Poe Johnson, Boxing Kills was here as well. Rasclaw 222, Mel Gibson. Get back to directing, Mel. Shepherd of Sons, Grievous, Graham, Neto, I should say. I mean, come on, gotta get the spelling right. Violence News Network. Did I already say Hawker Mustang? Why not? Hawker Mustang, Azzy. Who else? Glenn Rodwell, I should say. And many more. You guys know who you are. Thank you for being on. Alan Domereki, of course, dropped in as well. Glenn Rodwell, Cirillo. I don't want to miss any of my Virtuoso. And everybody else who joined. Thanks again, guys. Thank you for listening to the show. You guys make this. You guys with the fucking Ortiz jokes. You got to assert a couple of people there. But thanks a lot, guys, for being on. And we'll see you in the next one, folks. Take care.
Cross over troubled waters cause I'm targeted. A verbal assassin when I'm blasting.
Strictly head crushing, lead rushing through your body.
Can't cross over troubled waters cause I'm targeted. A verbal assassin, and when I'm blasting.